Alright everyone, I want to thank you all so much for joining us on this wonderful Thursday evening for some more D&D right here on Lionhead Gaming. And since it is Thursday, that means it's time for some more Song of Rapture, as DM'd by Monsieur Omen. Monsieur Omen, are you ready to get back into it, my friend? Alright.
So when we last left our valiant vanguard, we had found themselves at the heart of the Monarch Festival, although this year in Oakwell, this grand festival has been, I guess one might say, somewhat enhanced by the presence and planning of our famous valiant vanguard. But what exactly transpired during the middle of this festival, when our party has been partaking in all of the celebration, isn't really my story to tell. So does someone want to regale us what happened in the last episode of Song of Rapture?
I'll do my best.
Okie dokie. That's all we ask.
Yeah, previously on Song of Rapture, the Valiant Vanguard were in the middle of enjoying the Monarch Festival, now being the, I believe, 5th day of the festival itself, a coming of spring celebration of sorts. But this year is a little different. Instead of just celebrating the transition of seasons, it is a celebration where the Valiant Vanguard is to be announced as Dragon Slayers, but that hasn't happened quite yet. Samantha and Luna went around Oakwell doing business to promote the new guild hall that the Valiant Vanguard is starting to open. Samantha envisions that this guild hall would be the start of a change in the adventuring industry in Oakwell, where other adventurers could get their start in this hall, similarly to how the Valiant Vanguard did. There seems to be some opposition from certain adventuring groups, namely Hell's Hydras, which is, for the most part, a group of sellswords that benefit from, well, being able to sell their swords. And other businesses in town are a little bit nervous that the guild hall might take away their primary selling point, which is whoever has the best adventurer. But Samantha doesn't seem too worried about that and did everything she could to calm down the concerns of most of the business owners around Oakwell before she went to the guild hall herself, where she met up with Quildor, Mayor Autumnwood, and Lord Arthur from Skyreach. Lord Arthur was very excited to be there and doesn't seem to have anything odd about him, but we'll see. Their trip to Skyreach left them a little concerned with, well, his state of mind, rather. And after some conversations over how exciting this new opportunity is for Oakwell, Samantha went and gathered her little crew of kobolds so they can enjoy the festival. And that's when two of them told her that they kind of wanted to compete in this yearly competition of sorts, a little fighting ring where people get to go in and fight each other with clubs carved into the shape of swords. And so Samantha brought them out and took them to do that. But on their way over, Persephone and Swift Hollow were starting to enjoy the events of the Monarch Festival, going around and playing some games, one of which was the archery contest, and Swift Hollow, being very skilled with her crossbow, was dubbed the new champion this year. Yes, it's with a short bow. Was dubbed the champion. However, instead of winning a quiver like Clyde had done the year before, Clyde had carved a brand new prize that would hold Swift Hollow's bolts and arrows and make it a lot easier for her to pull them and use them within combat. A fitting prize for the brand new champion of this year's Monarch Festival. In fact, Swift Hollow won so well that nobody else wanted to compete afterwards. She got practically a nearly all perfect score, so I can't blame them for that. After their fun with the archery competition, we quickly panned over to the little sword fighting competition where Luna, Quildor, the kobolds, and an old friend of the Valiant Vanguards, Javen, even competed, all in the same competition of sorts. They were going up against some of the town's guards, and in a very fascinating twist of events, the guards were quickly taken out, and it was just the kobolds against Valiant Vanguard members, old and new. Luna, Quildor, and Javen, in their own way, assisted, or I think some of them was trying to genuinely win, but at the end of it, it was the two kobolds against each other, leaving one of them, Miram, standing victorious in a very, very bizarre series of events where these kobolds that nobody expected to win in this competition is actually now a champion for this year's Monarch Festival. Kind of bringing a different perception to these kobolds that Samantha has started to socialize and integrate into Oakwell, which was a little strange at first, but people seem to be warming up to the whole thing. And at the very end of our session, Tamar Khan had gathered all of his friends around to the northern gate, where he had a surprise for all of us. Elephants and exotic animals that he had procured from around Mobia were approaching the northern gate, and Tamar Khan himself even put on a wonderful performance as a parade went forth, celebrating the valiant vanguard marching down the streets of Oakwell towards the stage where I believe it is time for us to be announced our true titles. And we rejoined the Valiant Vanguard after this wondrous celebration, this parade that nobody saw coming. And for the rest of the Monarch festivities to continue. So join us tonight as we write another verse in Song of Rapture.
Well done, Melanie. Give yourself some DM inspiration. Unless... Oh my golly! You might have to roll yourself a D100 then.
Do it.
So long.
Do it. 74.
Oh, that's okay though.
That's okay.
Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. Where are you at? There you are. Not bad. Good. As we do rejoin our Valiant Vanguard, heading from the northern gate of Oakwell down towards the center of the town, actually now gathering in front of this newly established guild hall. It seems as if the coronation is still a bit ways off for the later night, but instead you see a crowd beginning to gather around what looks to be, I don't know, Samantha. It seems as if they finally set the stage for your own particular little performance. What would it look like here in Oakwell? What did you have in mind for your stage? For what seems to be this strange magical display experience, one might say.
Definitely. It would be a sturdy, wide half circle that allows Samantha to basically tuck herself away behind a corner and utilize some magic to sort of project her voice without really being seen, except for the components that she would want to be seen for, declaring intermissions and the announcement of a new show. With a short but heavy and dark curtain for her to close behind herself. And I think also maybe some space for other performers and any other, like, bards and the like to utilize after she's done with it, and enough space for like people to bring up instruments and things like that as well.
Nice. As you'd see this sort of raised platform surrounded by curtains, just enough to display whoever or whatever may take the stage, but just enough room behind for anyone to slip in and out of this stage, as well as maybe project a bit of their own finesse, their own arcana through the veil. One sec to do. As the crowd surrounding you guys as you approach, now taking the full attention in your arrival, you can see them clapping, applauding your approach, as suddenly it seems as if the this parade is starting to disperse. The elephants are otherwise dragged towards the sides of the streets to find some shelter for them, as well as maybe some stabling, if such a thing exists in this town. You would be greeted by a number of familiar faces. People across town you've seen, common folk, as well as some of the shopkeepers. You'd see the Stonehand brothers, who have since finished some of their own work for the time being, taking a break to come see what all the hubbub is about this strange presentation. You'd see people from the far western side of Oakwell. You'd see Barga, perhaps with Clyde. You'd see the Steadhand brothers, as well as their father, Varric. And Tim Tam, although he is, it seems as if he is quite exhausted from weeks of extensive work in his shop. But it seems like all the shopkeepers have made it as well. And sort of crowning this group, you can see this large crowd of people finding spaces to stand and watch. Otherwise, you'd see some neat seating sort of lining closest to the stage, and well spaced from the rabble-rousers, the common folk of Oakwell. You could see a line of ornately dressed individuals well seated for this performance to be had. A lot of them you can only see from behind until some of you start to round the stage for those who might be involved in the thing. You'd see a number of familiar faces, some of them friendly, some of them less so. A big line of them being from the far northern part of Broken Ridge. Some names that you have mingled with, Samantha, some well-dressed individuals, those who own shops and the like, those who have had some vested interest in the far north wall, this place where all these shopkeepers have gone and risen to make their names known and set essentially the bar for both fashion and accessibility of general goods all throughout Mobia. But a few faces you can see within the crowd are quite familiar. One of them being a well-dressed, dark-haired, raven-haired woman with some faint lines of aging, but her face seldom breaks or cracks when she smiles and gives you guys just the gentlest wave as you would catch sight of Layla Blackburn greeting you guys as you take your most of yourselves on stage. It seems like between herself and just a small top head of it looks like a familiar halfling's face. How did he get here so fast? You'd see just the bobbing head of her ally, her pet. Really hard to describe exactly what he is. Magnus McDonald appearing, but next to him, a bit easier to see. Deep red skin, almost of equal height with Magnus, but sort of defining himself with a crown of his own. These two red curled set of horns running up the sides of his head and reaching up to the top like the tips of a crown. You'd see another well-dressed individual, short of stature, but strong of presence. You guys would briefly know him as the current owner, head, and I guess spokesperson of the wall itself. A strange blend of what you can only assume to be tiefling and halfling, as being the man, Arbolt Caster, indeed. As he seems to give you, I guess, like a bit of a nod. His arms are constantly crossed. He has this smirk on his face, and only a few of you really interacted with him, but he always seems not always impressed, and more amused with everything that passes by him. After all, he is the owner of the wall. He sees all sorts of wares, all sorts of goods. It's almost as the world is constantly trying to impress him. And one set of eyes does linger on one of you for quite some time, harsh and piercing, juxtaposing the soft and excited eyes that stare up at you guys from a set of brothers sitting next to each other in one of these very nice, lavish-looking chairs. You would spot Logan Autumnwood, the mayor of your city, excited you guys taking the stage and making yourselves known in such a strange and mysterious, but now just outward and bombastic way. But next to him, one might say, is his complete opposite. Well dressed in these like tight black clothing, and now only being removed of this like heavy laden cloak across his body. You would see almost like a similar cut from his brother. Dark skin, very thin, almost frail looking frame. But there is an essence of strength to his appearance. A lack of smile and a face that probably has never really known a grin all his life, as you would catch eyes with the third member of the Board of Trade, Victor Autumnwood, the younger brother of your mayor, but apparently in this family holds a higher level of power. Along the rest of them, you can see maybe some other scattered faces, some familiar expressions, but none such as familiar as these, except one small chair drawn far closer than any other, seated, in fact, not by a person, but what looks to be a combination of both wood and metal. This strange humanoid-shaped contraption, much larger than its seat, but it still manages to fit itself firmly within the chair. It looks like a walking set of armor, although now it rests with its hands sort of cupped into its lap. And seated neatly on those set of hands, risen off of her chair, is a small, fair-skinned, snow-haired woman who has gone from the far reaches of Skyreach to come here and report on, apparently, this world-changing experience, as you guys would meet the well-guarded, the not often met, but well-heard of lady from Skyreach, the head of House Revelry, the sweet little halfling who always seeks the truth to tell the stories across all of Hearth that none have possibly heard of before. as you would catch sight of Lady Mary Joy Revelry, as this tiny little halfling seems to be nestled gently in the hands of this, I guess it would be a massive metal construct. If I could just drag it out. If I could just drag you out. Where'd you go, big boy?
Just drag it out. Just drag it out.
There you go. Sitting in the hands of this massive metal man who seems to overtake his chair. But his hands are these large cup shapes, which apparently the way he's holding him almost acts like as a heightened seat for this small individual. Everyone gives her a wide berth in their seats, and it seems like for good reason. But otherwise, it seems as if you've been gathered not only by the people of Oakwell, but by the far reaches of nobility across this nation. As Samantha, you take the stage from behind. What does exactly do
make
to
sure
start?
to properly greet Lady Blackburn and Castor, as well as even Victor Autumnwood, thanking them all for coming, paying credence to their noble presence, and spending a special moment, of course, thanking Lady Revelry for coming all the way from Skyreach. I know she said she didn't want to miss it, but life can often get in the way of even the best laid plans, so I'm very happy to see her.
Oh, nothing gets in the way between me and a new experience. You sold me a great story while you were there up in that great mountain. I'm here to see if it lives up to the tale. And believe me, I'll be taking detailed notes. As she, out of seemingly nowhere, her hands curl, and you can see like this little shimmer of light, and a small scroll seems to pour out from her palm, and a quill appears in her hand.
Yeah, as Swithal also just takes a deep bow to Lady Blackburn, and with a bit of a whisper under her breath, her clothing changes from her, well, I guess you would say usual outsider adventurer garb. Not the one that's so dark that she uses on missions, but, you know, standard fair adventuring gear into something more proper, realizing and remembering, oh yes, the nobility is here. As yeah, she changes into something of a noble dress with the Blackburn crest right on her shoulder. Left shoulder.
You've certainly found yourself a lovely little toy, darling. But this place... The beauty here does not come from these fancy gowns. It comes from the rustic nature of its people. Please, if you would, at ease, Swift Hollow. Blend in.
Just Hollow just shrugs. And then with a snap of the fingers, it changes back.
Persephone went from skipping freely to, as soon as she saw the line of nobles, back to noble proper, back straight, walking smooth, elegant notions, and a small curtsy to Lady Blackburn. It's a pleasure to see you again this year, Lady Layla Blackburn.
Likewise, darling. I believe you may have grown taller since the first time I've met you. I suppose it has been a year. Lovely.
Lovely. And then Persephone briskly trails after Samantha.
Lord Took couldn't make it, Lady Blackburn.
Well, he's currently making his rounds around town. Last time he was here was doing that... What did you call it? The Auguste? Yes, he's currently appraising the rest of the town. He's more interested in numbers and stories and tales. It's a byproduct of his upbringing. The Han district, it's all facts and figures. Not quite as lovely as these displays, though, darling.
Okay, I sort of gathered that impression from a very brief conversation, but I had heard that he was coming and I just had not seen him yet. I suppose I haven't been looking in the right place. Bear that in mind.
Oh, I assure you, you'll find him in time. The coronation will be tonight. I'm certain he'll be there to appraise you as well.
Hopefully he does not find me wanting. As I will finish my rounds to the assorted other nobles and thank the various business owners, the ones that make it to the performance as well, for being there, and then bid my friends and compatriots, if they wish, to sit in their designated section, so to speak, also in the front row, as they are the Valiant Vanguard.
Absolutely.
Purse is trying to look over the crowd. She even sends her little butterfly up to be another set of eyes, looking to see if she can find any other familiar faces as she goes to her seat.
As the butterfly makes some rounds, seemingly its sight a bit better than it normally would be with your eyes sort of, I guess you're extending your senses toward it, I'm assuming, using your familiar powers to look through its eyes.
Well, I'm walking, so that's not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea.
I just tell Spirit to let me know if she sees anyone I'm looking for.
Yeah, after some time flying around, you'd hear like a little soft telepathic ping in your mind. Simple words. Doesn't see some people. There's a woman you often hang out, you find yourself spending time with in the crowd. You maybe see the face of Locasta, just her no longer wearing her bandana in this. It seems like you still sort of let her hair down as the weather is starting to get a little warmer going into spring. But otherwise, there is an elf woman in the crowd as well, seated a little further back. Bronze skin, autumn colored hair.
No, not her. Okay, this Purse, just a little disappointed, sits down in her seat.
Why so glum?
It's silly. I invited my mother and brother before, like a month ago, and I guess I kind of hoped they would make it, but it's silly to think that they're awfully busy.
The same brother that you were worrying about.
Yeah. I thought maybe it'd be nice to have something to look forward to and to get a chance to get away from all of the mess briefly. But he probably couldn't get away from Father. They probably couldn't convince him. It's fine.
It's not silly to be disappointed, Persephone. Don't worry, we'll see them soon.
Yeah, I know. This is probably the biggest thing that's going to happen in my life, and it would have been nice for them to be here to see it. That's all.
I mean, it is a big crowd.
Yeah, but as I extend my hand for Spirit to land on my finger, not even Spirit can see them, so they're probably not coming.
Or maybe they don't want to be seen here. Maybe they will find you later. Either way, I'm sure they still deeply care about you, Persephone. And you have us here.
Stop being sad, it's bringing the mood down.
Seeing the crowd give a particular person a wide berth as if there's a place that people aren't supposed to be. That seems exactly where I want to be.
Seems like... Oh, yeah.
Take a chair, give me an armful of food, see if I can sneak up on them a little bit. And hopefully before she notices, I'm holding out a big old chicken leg to Miss Revelry. Would you like it, bud? Because it seems like I'm just trying to appear out of nowhere by her side, taking up a seat.
As you very carefully light a foot, I guess very silently with your special leaf sandals on your soles.
Wait, he's wearing shoes now? No.
Walking
Fucking
forward,
immersion broken.
Open-toed sandals.
As you'd make your way close, the moment you would make basically any noise, just so naturally stealthy, this massive, I guess, a machine of sorts would immediately turn its head towards you, and you can see one hand goes up to lift the lady, other hand goes out to reach out, and you think you have to take your chicken leg before the hand starts to reach towards you, and you go, whoa, fellow friend, settle down now, down.
Brennan is very protective.
Oh, certainly, he was created for that. No, thank you for the food. I'm currently watching my figure, but you're quite brave. Not that people get too close to the shield without, fearing for their lives. I suppose you are a dragon slayer. You do have some bravery to you. I admire that.
I have a tendency to get attracted to places I am not supposed to be.
Really?
It seems like everyone else. Well, not supposed to be here.
I would love to hear about those places. Do you have time after the show? As she puts to pull out another notebook.
About the storyteller of my brother, but swear. I do love a good tale. As you can see my tail sneak up beside me and start to wiggle a little bit.
Oh, and he tells jokes as well.
Ah!
What exactly is your name? Was that your show back there?
It's something I tried to put together. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Tamerka. It is a pleasure to meet you, Miss Reverie.
Truth be told, the pleasure is all mine. As you see her just sort of like chuckle and starts to engage in more conversations, trying to get more out of you, but it seems like the show is slowly but surely getting started. And she keeps switching between what looks to be a handful of notes and this strange scroll she summoned from her hand, trying to keep track of everything. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do? All right.
As the what I would assume to be like various sort of set up like sort of like row lighting and things as time passes, it'll progressively get darker and darker, and so the various like torches nearby near the stage and stuff will start to flicker and change colors slowly but surely, each one of them turning green as I just start finishing up my last prep, reviewing what it is I have prepared for the various tales. And once everything is good to go, all the torches turn green and then go back to the normal color as Samantha will step out onto the stage by herself, cleaned up and with a very not extremely formal, but very reminiscent of the sort of sundress that she wore last year, though this time, instead of the bright white and yellows of what were very sort of motherly colors, she seems to be wearing this dark black dress with purple flowers on it instead, going with a much more, not somber, but just a different sort of tone. Thank you all so much for gathering here for this. This is honestly a pleasure to put on for all of you, to share the tales and stories of the journey of the valiant vanguard. This is a turning point for our little organization, one that I'm sure you have all seen the effects of. There are a few announcements to be made when it's all done. Things will be different in Oakwell, especially as it pertains to us. But for now, I want to take a look back at where we started, why you're all here, and even what it is we get up to after accomplishing such a great feat. 3 tales. 3 magnificent adventures, each different in their own ways, and each as important as the last. The valiant vanguard's escapades to the Isle of the Dead, their confrontation with Obsidious the Pretender, and even their whimsical adventures in the golden city of Roka. But I want to give one final thanks in the end and show my appreciation to our original benefactor, Jody, for without none of this would have been possible.
As the number of hands begin to clap, you can hear some people in the crowd, like a loud dwarf too far away to see, go, woo!
Jody of the Fallen Horse. I already. As the torches all seem to go out shortly after the hooping and hollering, and I begin the performance for the Isle of the Dead.
All right. The word is spoken. The pearl that rests upon the back of the stage suddenly sort of lets off a soft pulse of light as you all see something that maybe only you in this town have experienced. using this orb of witness that projects a facsimile of, as for one might say, an image, but truly it's a scene from which it previously recorded. It's always a replay of what it has seen. But what you guys see that changes this. For some of you, it's completely new. For the few of you, the original members of the Valiant Vanguard, it is almost like a blast from the past, as the stage seems to become covered, every surface spread with it looks to be a layer of first looks to be snow, but realize it is harsh and brittle ice. It spreads further off the stage, even onto some of the ground, but always seems to fill this sort of perfectly shaped stage that encompasses its own separate little world. It's no longer theatrics, it's no longer thespians pretending with costumes. Looking around in the frame of this curtain is like looking through a porthole, an actual like break in the world, and inside is its own separate existence. As you see, the air is blown and tossed to and fro as the sounds of a blizzard blow. And walking inside, you see shadows, 7 of them in total. 6 of them standing on 2 feet, trudging through what looks to be difficult looking terrain, while one of them basically charges and drags itself with heavy feet through the hardened ice as you would eventually watch the fog clear and you'd witness the original Valiant Vanguard. You'd see the strong shouldered Gregory pushing his way through the front next to Clyde, as well as his animal companion Mitty, this thick furred wolf who seems to be blending perfectly in with the surroundings, as well as the remaining Valiant Vanguard with seems like Javen taking up the tail. He's been taking on
Hey,
these
that's me.
taking on these threats ever since he first joined the Valiant Vanguard, and it seems like this was really his first endeavor with them, having his sort of trial of test be taking on what seems to be a strange magical plague. And the scenes move quickly. Some of you discerning what's going on, maybe wondering how exactly did this happen. You might glance and notice maybe just at some point where some of the snow seems to shiver ever so slightly, and it becomes aware, oh, this all of this is fabricated. All of these images you see have been created through magic, but they've been done so with time and care to the point where discerning one might give away the nature of another, but there's so much going on at once, the layman would never know. As you would see yourselves trudging through a frozen forest before the snow seems to just explode upward with these skeletal forms, long distended claws, bones protruding from the body, covered in ice, and long, sharp teeth that seem to be glistening with a frozen liquid as they attempt to sink their teeth into your body and rip and tear. The scene just seems to change as a billowing blizzard wind blasts it away the moment you realize the Valiant Vanguard have been taking on a threat, and the scene changes. You find yourselves at the center inside of some construct, a hut of sorts. The walls are creaking and breaking. You can see what looks to be a quiet, disheveled looking pale elf sitting in the corner with a couple of you guys. You can see Gregory keeping his shoulder against the door as you can every once in a while hear this sudden burst against it. It's hard to tell if it's the strange life outside trying to get in, or if it's simply the howling blizzard that persists on this island. But it seems like the Valiant Vanguard are not willing to take the chance on either one. Eventually, things begin to spread as the wind blows, a door creaks, and this strange, ghostly, shadowy figure seems to emerge, the walls around you disintegrating and becoming this desolate looking church as you see this swirling mass of blackness engage the Valiant Vanguard. He spreads out, this shadow overtaking the whole scene before the whole thing goes black and quiet. The sound of the storm is muffled and gone. And then you can hear the cracking of ice and the dropping of what sounds to be an object in the distance, like a book or perhaps like a bottle, as light begins to slowly creak its way into this dark scene. You're no longer in this building, in this church. You are somewhere far beyond all of that. You find yourselves in this room where the door is large and now it seemed to be I guess, slowly prying open, shedding the softest light into this room, shed by the soft glow of what looks to be Gregory's sword. And as light spills into the room, you see a grand library of which most everything has been broken. The walls look like they're covered in gems and crystals, but all of it is ice. This frozen hell core at the center of the mountain of Stroma, where inside you approach, making your way around every corner, cautious of every step, until these broken, twisted bodies begin to pull themselves together, what looks to be these tethering strings of darkness, until they are finally pulled, this stitch that fastens them together into this truly horrifying looking facsimile of life. It stands, why don't I even say it stands? It floats 8 feet off the ground, its body only hidden from, I guess, gracefully hidden from your sight by a long, dark, draping cloak. As this thing raises itself before you guys, as on the center of the stage, you guys would find a familiar shape. The entity that has called itself the Maw of Hunger. The breaks in this draped cloth opening up to reveal it looks to be just mouths all across its form, on its hands, on its chest. There are no eyes, just a hungering maw, the hunger that you have been fighting all this time. This particular section of this Stroma adventure is probably by far the longest. You watch yourselves scatter across the maps, trying to strike down this creature who seems to take blow after blow, but even as he falls to the ground, the pieces pull themselves back together and the hunger rises again. I mean, while surrounding you guys are these twisted behemoths, some of them coated in ice, others just look like they were massive beasts mutated by magic, carving and spreading you guys apart until finally a break is made in their defenses. The enemy has been scattered, and all that remains is this glow from the center of the room, a great, terrible tear in reality that seems to be defined by what looks to be some horrible pentagram. But with the combined magic of what looks to be Samantha and Persephone extending their hands out towards the center of this room, their spells intertwining into this single, it looks to be like a beam that strikes the center of this pentagram. You can see the tear from both sides being forcibly pulled back together as this sinew holding the beast together is rended from this cacophony of corpses until it all becomes pulled back from whence it came. And with this reverberation, like as if two halves are being smashed together back into one, the entire scene just seems to shatter, the ice falling off the walls, and the walls of this place you're in fall apart until just it remains as rubble that melts away as if it too were frozen. And in its place, you could see soft gray grass on this mountaintop slowly blooming with every almost heartbeat of this new life brought here as green slowly begins to spread. As the crowd is quite enthralled with this, it seems like the beginning story was really not anything anyone had expected. They had come here for a dragon fight, and what they got was a horror show. It was watching horrible corpses rise off the ground to fight these adventurers. Still very captivating, but a bit confusing. But by the end of the story, it seems that they found enough quick investment in those 10 minutes that they were able to finally like hold on to the end. And then once it seemed like the Valiant Vanguard had been victorious, they break out into like, it seems like a sigh of relief. The nobility watching are also quite entertained, but there is a sort of maintained look of skepticism about them. It seems a lot of them are, especially a couple of them, are watching quite intently, and it seems as if they too may have seen through some of the magical facade and have not lost interest, but are eager for the next event. As the story of Stroma seems to melt away until everything fades back in the darkness.
Sorry, I missed that. I just want to try to seek them out.
Persephone leans over to Swift Hollow. I had been trying to regrow Liscus for at least a month. I had no idea we were going to go to Stroma when all of this happened.
Sort of taking a moment to drink some water as Samantha would be providing thaumaturgical narration for the whole thing. And then she just seems to sort of walk back out and sort of give a short bow before announcing the piece à la resistance, so to speak, the confrontation with Obsidious the Pretender. The reason you're all here.
As you would find this scene changing, going once again dark until almost those closest to the stage, I guess the nobility who are closest, and Timur Khan sitting right next to Mary Joy, you would suddenly hear this like pulse, like a crack in the earth, a familiar sound when you guys were deep beneath the surface, as suddenly you feel this wave out of nowhere, this pulse of, I guess you know now to be non existent air, but it feels so real as it runs through your fur, and you feel that same sort of heat, that sensation of heat, as if it feels like everyone suddenly sort of shudders as they are confronted by the heat of the Black Rock. As the soft glow begins to pick up to and fro around you guys, as inside, dimly lit but colored just for the sake of this performance, you'd see the winding tunnels down into the mouth of the Black Rock, the deep nest inside where you guys seem to appear dramatically into, as if the scene has been held for a moment before the Valiant Vanguard arrive, striking down what looks to be these twisted dragon dog things, the beasts you know as drakes, as suddenly you guys make your appearance in seconds, making yourselves known in this triumphant, heroic way. As the next moment, the scene sort of shifts and pulls to reveal what looks to be a band of kobolds now rising to the moment, and then a loud screech as suddenly the entire cave seems to come alive and you guys are swarmed by their numbers. These beasts come crawling out of the walls over one another to get to you guys, but a couple of you seem to hold the line, carving a path of safety throughout this first stretch of this cave, which seems to blend next into the next scene as you guys find yourself approaching the heart of this cave where it looks to be a huge band of these kobolds. It seems that this maybe has been a bit doctored as you guys enter together, watching yourselves stand to and fro next to it looks like a creature that holds magic in its hand, powerful and devastating. But overall, you guys are able to withstand the burst of its magic fire cascading across your bodies before suddenly you guys step forth, most of you basically unharmed, just flames licking off your form. It seems as if you guys are almost fireproof as you guys enter in and cut these beasts down, taking down the last of their horde before finally, what seems to be pull back, not to retreat, but to proceed with your next plan, the next step in your great scheme. As the scene fades and you find yourselves sitting at the foot, the caldera rather, of a volcano where light begins to bloom from what looks to be this pool of bubbling lava. As you guys step inside, you can see this mound of treasure, huge, perhaps even a bit larger than you had before, but you can see why as soon as some of that gold begins to trickle and move on its own. You guys step into the room, and pulling itself out of this pile of treasure seems to be a gargantuan beast covered in these deep crimson scales and obsidian shards lodged between them, the beast you would all know to be Obsidious, as you would find yourselves standing almost at the foot again, once again, of this scene you had all experienced before. This rolling pool of lava on which now you see rising these twisted creatures, skeletons of kobolds clad in molten flesh, as well as dancing fire skating across the pool that rises up into these menacing draconic forms as this beast greets you with both, I guess, both admiration for power, but truly disdain, as it seems like he's speaking down on your efforts, taking great steps forward, each one plunging a palm into the treasure and melting a swath of the gold with just what seems to be his radiating heat. But after that, you guys find yourselves holding yourselves forward, charging forth victoriously as you guys overtake this cave. Fire spills all across the entire map, but you guys find yourselves engaging with these beasts, fighting off the kobolds who guard the treasure, standing before these little twisted elemental abominations as swaths of water and rising like biggest patches of earth seem to overtake them as well. until eventually you guys find yourselves standing off against Obsidius himself, but none would have the killing blow other than Quildor with spear in hand, leaping through the air and driving this golden spear directly into the chest with this spray of sparks reaching the ceiling as this beast takes to the floor. You can see fire reaching up from his surroundings, trying to take him, trying to give back to the dragon, but it looks like all of your magic combined, centered at this magical, like, I guess, core of darkness that spreads out from Luna's hands, seems to just push it all away until this beast is left nothing more than a lifeless husk. And this surrounding wave of water that seems to circle the entire place begins to soothe the bubbling, crackling lava until all that remains is hardened earth. And within the center of this place, this great glowing rune, you can see there looks like Samantha turns her hand over, points her scepter at its center, and the whole thing just seems to shimmer and then shatter and explode into pieces. As finally, with that burst of light, you can see sparks falling down on the scene, and it looks like by the end of this great ordeal, a full basically 10 minutes of this entire fight, watching the Valiant Vanguard square off, stand victoriously, and ultimately prove their worth against one of the Titanborn of the world, one of the dragons. As immediately when this moment ends, you can see the group pulls themselves back, and almost before it seems like the scene would end, the lights begin to dim. There's sort of like a soft glow as you can see the party, starting with what looks to be a large 8-man, plops down in a spray of non-molten gold, as the rest of the party fall backwards, laughing and enjoying themselves. Not your typical, one might say, adventurous victory, but there is this sort of delightfulness that comes from the crowd when they witness the Valiant Vanguard plopping down in this massive treasure and then just sort of like pull up these weird fingers. It seems like Quildor initiates it, some sort of elf thing, as it almost becomes a trend. You can see people in the crowd laughing as well and like sort of pulling up their own fingers. An entire set of these like symbols thrown up in the entirety of Oakwell, cascading across the audience. As eventually the scene fades, and the audience is left with this tremendous applause, all excited. Even the nobles nodding and clapping their hands. You can see that Mary Joy is just delighted. Her hair is almost curling up in excitement as she's previously like writing notes. As it seems like the I guess we call it the magnum opus of this moment, the great fight that everyone's been waiting for, has finally been displayed. The dragon, a creature that no one in Hearth truly lives to see and tell the tale about, has now been bestowed in person in life-size detail for the sake of this entire audience, an experience they've never felt before, as the crowd is delighted by this. As we return back to Samantha, as you visually get like a standing ovation as the entire crowd stands up, begins hooting and hollering, as it seems like they're excited. There's got to be more to this, though, right?
As Samantha comes back out, this time before coming from behind the curtain, listening to the applause from the common folk and the hooping and hollering, she just sort of takes a deep breath, change for the better, and takes off her mask.
Oh, she's really doing it.
There is a hush that falls over the crowd. So you can hear some murmurs between people. They're really not making any accusations. They're just sort of watching silently. You can see down in the crowd, looks like Logan Autumnwood is like shocked, who immediately turns his head towards his brother, who doesn't seem to be all that shocked at all. Seems to be keeping his eyes fixated on you. Not in a disgusted way, just sort of vigilant, keeping his eyes focused solely on you and what you'll do next.
We should go up there. We should go up there, like right now. So Persephone's like holding up her hands, like we should go, and she's waiting for a nod from her friends.
Not giving any indication. Luna is actually just Misty Step up there.
Oh dear, we're really doing this.
I pat Swift Hollow to teleport her up on the stage.
Oh, what's that?
I'm sorry, is this part of the show, darling? It's a costume.
And I fly over.
And so I'll just like
Oh, she put her
brushes
belt.
herself off.
Put the chicken down!
Hold on.
I paid gold for this. You don't understand how much they're upcharging this
As this
shit.
massive beast reaches hand out toward you, Tamarcon, and just seems to take your plate.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm
So I
really
start
enjoying
running,
Tamarcon
licking
in
my
the
fingers.
weird
Tamarcon
robot love
has
seat
like his
with
fucking
Mary
funnel
Joy.
cake in his hand as he's running up. Don't worry, guys, I'm here.
Fucking just
He's got
crumbs
it's
falling
out of
down
his mouth.
everywhere.
Oh yeah, he just has like powdered sugar all over his mouth. Like,
Big
Oh,
old
oh my
pot
god.
belly full of food.
Oh god.
I
As
was
you all take to the
busy.
stage.
Yeah, having Luna on my right and Persephone on my left, and then slowly but surely the rest of the Vanguard, our wonderful growth and change as people have needed to depart to go on their own journeys, but now we have who we have. And with them at both of my sides, I turned to the crowd. This is not a costume. This is not a glamour or an illusion. This is the truth. This is who I have always been as I have looked out and looked inwards when it comes to Oakwell. I am Samantha Deus, and I am the leader of the Valiant Vanguard, and I am done lying.
I mean, she lied to us before. Yeah! Woo! As a Dragon Boy calls out from the crowd. Yeah!
As crowds relatively silent at this, there's just sort of like some soft murmurs, people sort of turning to each other, like the sort of questioning look. And then you can hear from the front of the crowd this sort of sharp, stern voice speaking out, just loud enough, apparently. Not like yelling, but just projecting with personality. Show us what you have left. As it seems like the sole voice that carries stuff from the crowd, besides the cheering Dragonborn, seems to be Victor.
Yeah! Go Samantha! Woo! Don't worry, Javen's there for you guys. He's always been there for you guys.
Thanks,
I
Dad.
know. This has a great deal
Uncle.
of weight. But I'll take some of that weight off your shoulders and promise to make you laugh, hopefully, as I will try to lead into the golden city of Roka.
As it seems like the surrounding stage begins to pick up with a breeze as your images sort of basically get overtaken before, unless you stay on the stage, begin to fade.
I pull them back behind the curtain.
All of you back.
No, I stay there. I stay there and stare at him.
I'm the star of the show. As the sand begins to swirl around this stage until it begins to glint every so often, maybe just a hint of gold within it, until some of the sand crashes into itself, making these great dunes that harden and compress into these bright golden walls that you would know the city of Roka, before things just pull inward as you guys are faded into this scene, walking around basically the glittering streets of this city, following what looks to be the Valiant Vanguard in their journey through this city. Most of it following Samantha, of course. The magic truly follows her, as well as the small, somewhat cloaked from the sun, but still openly walking and exposed kobolds far before they were brought to the town of Oakwell. Seems like they're still quite hard to adapt to society, but they're mostly minding their manners around you guys. But you can see all the sort of beautiful sights that this place has to offer. You can see the luxurious inns and taverns that some of you guys had spent some time in, eating dinners, or in one case, looks to be the back end of a brothel surrounded by nobles, where you guys seem to be trading cards and maybe just a glimpse or a recreation of such a scene, where it seems like money is to be made or won, as you guys switch over to the far reaches of the eastern side, the beautiful gardens that lie within the Keen's Garden, the Great Golden Tower, and the Wizard King who lies within. It seems like you guys have ventured into the city and seen all of its sights, but eventually that sight seems to pull itself straight to the heart of Roka, where you can hear basically the building sound of a cheering crowd beginning to rile and roar as you guys find yourselves, the Valiant Vanguard, at the center of this great arena where the ground has exploded up into this great winding shape comparable to that of the dragon you had fought moments ago. But instead, its form is simple. It is a long, winding snake head that lashes out at some of you, even ripping and tearing into one of your allies before throwing itself on the ground. But the shimmer of steel flashes up by it and seems to help carve the head clean from the neck as Cooler seems to rip this thing's head off. But the moment the head hits the ground, the neck explodes outward into a cacophony of both two, and then as the sand bursts below it, even more heads. As you guys find yourselves standing off against this great beast, the air around surrounds and shimmers with magic. As soon you find yourselves standing around the great beast that is the Pharaoh, that's right, the scourge of the White Sea, who is being beset not only by both the light and the dark night standing across the ground, and this large monkey man with great staff in hand also seems to be beset at every head by one of these well-plumed owls, large in size. Some of them staying close to the ground to pick up their friends. Others seem to be besetting and attacking the beast, trying to distract it. You guys seem to be circling around this thing as sand rises and falls in this great swirling sandstorm that at moments would offer you guys blindness, but thanks to this magic of of what looks to be the pearl, it looks like you guys can maybe just catch the faintest glimmer of objects within. The crowd isn't lost in the sandstorm that you guys were blinded by before. They can actually see in dramatic fashion the action occurring inside. Mostly in shadowed form, as you see like this knight step forward and swing a sword, and this dark spray of liquid, presumed to be blood, comes out from this silhouette as bolts come flying from these great pillars from all direction. Sheer shots of magic taking the form of weapons come flying from one side, as well as it looks to be a burst of both fire and ice coming from what looks to be one of the flying owls around. It looks like all of you guys are sort of besetting and surrounding this creature until the heads whittle down one by one, until finally, with sword in hand, this beast is struck, carved to the ground, and its body seemingly burned away into nothing, as the crowd just seems to go wild, erupting in applause and excitement in this scene as you guys are named thusly after the champions of the arena. A soon to be, I guess now followed title to what will be your Dragon Slayer's title. Something that the crowd all seems to recognize. It seems that your skills, your triumphs are not alone in dragon slaying. It seems that any great beast claimed to be a Titanborn that stands before you is eager to fall just as easily. As after this, the illusion fades, you find yourself back in this moment where the crowd is a bit quiet, sort of processing everything that happened. They seem enthralled by the performance, ready to fight alongside you guys against this beast. They were so involved, but now that it's faded, there's this sort of a quiet moment, still trying to process everything, and then softly but surely, you hear like maybe a soft sound in the background, maybe Javen's hands clapping loudly, a couple familiar faces applauding as well. And then you can see, sort of starting near the front of this crowd, the nobility. Starting from, you see Logan just sort of like looking up and down around, up to you, Samantha, and then just begins to clap himself with a nod. As one by one, crowd begins to build in what looks to be an applause. So they just sort of a gentle clapping that goes louder and louder until finally realizing, I guess, the fruition of all of your endeavors and trials. You have the entirety of this crowd calling out in excitement to you guys.
Bringing out all of the Valiant Vanguard from behind the curtains again once the applause truly starts, and looking out at all of the gathered people with many sets of eyes. Samantha just sort of whispers to herself, probably with only Persephone and Luna close enough to her to really hear. It's not worship, but it will have to do.
We'll get there.
Yes, Mr.
Sort of just pull in Persephone and Luna into a one-armed hug on either side of her, and separate for a moment to give a proper curtsy and extend thanks to the nobility, and apologize to Logan for surprising him as such, but thanking him for the opportunity.
As you're sort of stepping down from the stage, you actually see a hand extend out to basically balance yourself along the way. A face you haven't probably seen in quite some time. An older, maybe middle-aged human, sort of kept in sort of closely guarded clothing. It seems he's still hiding his scar from that event so long ago. As you can see the face, soft smile, almost knowingly, as you are helped down from the stage by Stannis Greyjoy, who takes your hand. It was quite a performance you put on, Misteus.
Ah, Stannis. I am glad you are well.
I'm doing as well as I can, all things considered in the north. You are certainly full of surprises. As he will sort of guide you towards the nobility of the crowd, who Logan is already standing up and applauding. Must say that was quite unexpected, but wow, marvelous. As you he sort of motions back behind him, and you can already see his brother's already just gone, vanished from sight. I thought he would have a word with you, but I believe he has his own issues with.
I think he's
Anyway.
enough.
I believe so as well. Believe you me, this was more than I'd imagined, honestly. Thank you, Vanguard. This was an experience. You've given this town something that no one would ever have seen without it. An experience that maybe even the lowliest peasant would never truly be able to experience, only hear of in stories. And here they were, being able to witness it with their own eyes. A dragon being slain, the tyrants being toppled. As he just reaches out and gives you a big hug, Samantha.
I return it in kind. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I honestly, in a lot of ways, consider Oakwell my home, so I am happy to bring such a gift to all of those who could be here to receive it.
I would certainly hope so. It's always been my home, my brother's home, although he's often far away. It is a place meant to be home for all. Travelers with dreams, to venture beyond, to grow great heights, to reach the top, to reach the heavens themselves, one might say. It's what I've always wanted of this town, and, well, it warms my heart more than anything to know that we have people such as yourselves, as all of yourselves, who are out there fighting and working hard to make sure this is a home for everyone too. This sort of moment, this experience that incites people to do great things, to rise above where they are in life. This is exactly what Father would have wanted.
That I am happy to hear, and I could not any longer do so under guise. I needed to be an inspiration, not only to any would-be adventurer, but to those who think that they have to do darker things. Anyone can be a hero, Mayor Aldenwood, as all of my snakes sort of just look towards him. Anyone.
I certainly like to believe that, and I'm glad I can see that in you. Now, we will be seeing you later tonight at my estate. It seems that Lord Arthur has already set up the stage. He insists that the coronation be held in front of a house of nobility, but before then, you have the rest of the day to yourselves. You have a crowd, I'm assuming, of now massing fans who have witnessed your endeavors. You might be quite busy for some time, although I suppose if you wish for some privacy, well, you've newly established some right here, as he motions just to the south, where it looks like you can actually see your guild hall relatively clear of people. It almost seems like picketed around it. You can see standing at the parapets of these 40-foot walls. You see like a pair of guards standing up watch in front of the doors. The actual gates to the place itself seems to be guarded as well. There seems to be guards all around the whole place. Considering the unfortunate ill repute that your creation has caused some people, I've took the part of myself to have Bea station some protection, just to ward people away from doing anything too, drastic upon its opening. But
How forward-thinking of you, Mayor. I greatly appreciate that. And we will, of course, attend the coronation. All of us will be there for that. I will. She sort of drops her voice down. I would advise, this is the beginning of a new era for the Valiant Vanguard. The beginning of a new era for myself as well. I would let those who are going to attend know I will not be wearing my mask again in this town.
Oh, of course. I believe with this great presentation, your reputation would precede any, well, I guess you might say biases or predisposition one might have.
Good. I certainly wouldn't want anyone to be clutching their pearls at dinner. As she just returns a single handshake before turning her attention to both Lady Blackburn and Mary Joy Revelry.
Well,
How does
darling,
Blackburn look?
she looks. I guess if you were to glance at her in the crowd when the reveal was made, she actually looked shocked at the moment, just like caught off guard completely. But as the show went on and she's been watching all the things that's happening, you do see that soft little smile returning to her face and this sort of just, I guess with your insight, the glint of an idea forming as she just sort of smiles. I must say, Miss Deos, it was quite a surprising reveal, but I always thought that emerald suited you. As she sort of
It is
looks
a
up and down your
pleasant one.
scales, even a, of course she would, even a hand would sort of reach out and like just sort of graze one of your snakes, just almost invasively.
I push her hand away.
I turn away.
And she
and
reaches for
whisper,
Cody, who's just like tasting the air as her hand approaches. Just like, who is this? What are you? You're not Luna.
Or Cody.
Or Persephone in Cody's case.
Persephone turns away and whispers into her ring, "Watch out for her. I don't like the look in her eye."
It is surprising to a few, though I must admit there are those who are truly, truly astute, who I suppose wary. But hopefully this can dispel any need for such notions.
Oh, I certainly think so. If you had tried to do this before, I'm certain your reputation may have been tarnished. A well-played strategy, Samantha. I must applaud you.
No one can turn away a dragon slayer.
As you can see,
Yes.
Mary Joy has like hopped
Lady
off her
Revelry.
seat.
It is like sort of
Lady
taking in
Bea.
the big guardian and seeing like Tamar Khan sort of like mess on the ground nearby of a mature sort of messy eating of caramel popcorn and
Oh.
crap on the ground.
There would be, but you can see as she hops off her seat, bounces off this thing's knee, and makes her way over to you. This thing still hold on to its plate, like almost like perfect, like I don't know, you call it like leveling. Keeps his hand down as he reaches up, and you see bit by bit this massive hand picking up pieces of garbage and piling it on the plate. As he starts to get up and follow after Miss Revelry. Lady Samantha, truly full of surprises. Oh, what a way to reveal your true secret. Yeah, I hope you don't mind. This is going to be in the story. The entire world will know about it. Hope this wasn't meant to be a local secret.
No. This is the end of the past and the beginning of a new future. One where I can look where I need to, as I sort of shift my snake's gaze, mostly towards her and some towards the crowd. Plus, I still have plenty of secrets.
I'm sure you will. Truth be told, I almost thought you were tiefling the way you acted, but I suppose I could be wrong myself. My desire for the truth often leads me a slight bit astray, but only slight. As with that, The crowd will make their dues. Some people will be coming up to you guys asking questions. How did that happen? How did you guys do this? What was the island like? When did that happen? Was that when when the priest was sent out towards Moston? When did this happen? As
Yeah,
they're
sort
just
of,
trying to ask
as
about the
people
dragon
come
fight.
up like asking questions, I sort of just look towards Persephone and just start pushing her in front of them. Do your
What?
thing, darling.
Just start talking.
The only person who could keep up with all of their questions, Persephone.
She is.
When I was going to look around, just looking at faces, does she see that one young wizard who asked her how she did that fireball and she told to fuck off? Do I see him? A long time ago when they were picking the people, and I threw a fireball in the air.
Yep.
I think you would actually. I was trying to think, is he still in town, all things considered? Yes, he is. It seems like you do spot him. He doesn't seem quite as, I guess, as ambitiously dressed as he was before. No, like, cloak and, like, fancy, or at least somewhat fancy tunic being worn. He seems to be wearing more common and average commoner clothing, just simple tunic, gloves, boots. He does sort of give you, like, a bit of a knowing wave amidst the crowd as you sort of spot him. But doesn't seem as bombastic as he was when you first met him. But you do see him.
I'm gonna walk over him. I was gonna say, how's those flames going?
I've actually you're actually talking to me. You remember me? Sorry. No, I haven't practicing for quite some time. It's hard to compete these days, I suppose.
Well, don't give up. Sure, you'll do fine. I'm just gonna walk away. You should join the guild.
He told me I should. All right. I mean, certainly I can learn if I put some effort in. Yes, of course.
I'm gonna ask Lady Blackburn if she wants to go for a walk around town.
Oh. As you would approach Lady Blackburn, meeting her for probably a moment the second time now, as she would sort of look you up and down with a sort of half smile. Absolutely, Sir Knight. I would love to have a walk. Magnus, if you would, go seek out Victor Autumnwood wherever he is, and sure he shows up to the coronation. I don't want him missing anything. Understand? Oh, yes, Lady Blackburn, of course. I'll be quick of haste, or haste of quick. I'll find him right now. She'll take a walk with you if you want. Giant Lady Blackburn.
I'll just extend my arm.
Make us all
in a
big.
very chivalrous way so that she can take it, and we'll just walk.
Oh my. So chivalrous of you.
Persephone's speech slows down just ever so slightly as she watches Quill and Blackburn walk off. But anyways, the village wasn't totally deserted. There was like only one elf that was left, and his name was Peleus. He was looking for as she continues to answer questions.
Nice. As it seems like the group's starting to break off. What do you guys? It seems like you guys have a bit of time before the coronation starts. Is there anything you guys wanting to do? The sun is starting to set in the sky. You know that by the later evening, once the sunset has been reached, it'll be time to name you guys Dragon Slayers.
Swift Hollow asked me what Liscus was, so I want to invite her to the garden. The Hope's Garden that I started to regrow the
Nice.
Liscus.
Okay.
That was a better idea than what Swithall was about to do, which was just slink off.
No, Persephone grabs and drags.
I'm going away now.
Do you
Let's
not
see,
go to
I have.
the garden?
No, she does. She does. Yeah,
Okay.
I was making a joke. Oh, look at that! My 4 hours are up. Sorry, dear. I have a 16-hour workday.
Jesus.
4 hours to sleep.
As,
Just having a good time with the crowd. He's just partying and bragging.
Nice.
I invest a bit more time in answering questions to, those Samantha sort of deems worthy of her time, but she is, oddly enough, and those of deep pockets as well, she is sort of, oddly enough, kind of exhausted from just going through all of that, and after maybe about 10 or 15 minutes or so, she just quietly sort of makes her exit, grabbing a hold of a meeting up with Luna at maybe one of the edges of this assembled crowd, and wishing people to enjoy the rest of the festival, all that sort of thing. And then just wanting to call on some magic and just get the hell out of there, as she is just going to make herself, I think, maybe invisible and just try to slip out and head down towards the fallen horse, as she's sort of been running on all cylinders, calling on every ounce of panache and quick speaking and silver tongue that she can. And she just, at this point in the day, before this next let's all sit together and talk in pleasantries, but also not quite pleasantries, noble gathering is to happen, she just needs a moment to sort of recharge her batteries. And so she's going to head to the fallen horse and consult her infinite bottle of good feeling and just relax for a bit of time.
Nice. And Luda, what are you up to?
Luna's also just going to walk around talking to people, maybe talking to people that she has kind of wronged in the past, been a bit too mean to, not apologize, because, that's beneath me, but, just like I did with the fireball guy, just be slightly nicer before going back into the new guild hall to start changing into her outfit that Tim made.
Nice. So as you're sort of, I'll go about one by one to make this work. So like as you're sort of going out, like carousing within the crowd, you do see a lot of people you may have wronged. Some of them are honestly just hard to remember. There's so many who do, and there's so many who just annoy you at times, especially in the early days. But you do
everyone except the guy that I asked about Clyde. Fuck that guy. I don't like him.
The guy in particular? Okay. You do find that guy, and you do say fuck him together, or fuck him in particular. As make your way across town, you do see a few familiar faces. Again, some of them are super excited to have you talk to them again. You're a Dragon Slayer now, but a bit of mixed reactions. Some of them are excited, like, oh, they completely forgot about the instance of you probably being mean to them. Others, maybe, like the Fireball guy, kind of held on to it or were confused by the sudden change of heart, but they're readily accepting of you. It seems that your new position makes you quite likable, on top of how you're sort of had this magnetism with your charisma before, where people just have either strong, like adoring or fearful reactions to you. But as you're sort of making your way across town, Luna, I guess you would run into one familiar face. Maybe you didn't wrong, but you've gone through lots of things with this person. And as hey, Gregory Timberson, what are you up to in the later night of the festival?
How late we talking?
We're talking about like 4 to going on 5. The sun's starting to set in the sky. Seems like there's a coronation get ready to go on in a couple hours, or about an hour or so.
You probably saw him around during the whole festivities and stuff. Probably with the whole gang from the Fallen Horse with Jody and Marjorie and everybody. Mm-hmm. But now when it's starting to get late, you actually start to realize that you might see Joey around with a particular female individual. He might be out and about. The other 2 kids seem to be somewhere not in sight. As you see Gregory actually out with Marjorie, perusing and getting some food as it starts to get dark outside.
Nice. As along your journey, you would catch maybe a sight of Gregory, even though he's now ingratiating himself back with the common folk, no longer part of the Valiant Vanguard. He still stands out, sort of like a sore thumb in some places. Lots of strong, abled men in town, but none quite as broad-shouldered as Gregory Timberson, built to lift and throw horses, as well as walking besides. It looks another familiar face, one of your previous allies along your journey, someone you had saved from a cursed fate that I guess you personally maybe felt some sort of connection with, in terms of the way you were sort of exposed and forced to be brought up with your powers that always seem to draw the worst creatures in the world. But it seems as if, I guess after all this time, through all the hardships they've faced and the one might call adventures, others may call traumas of this mythical world, it seems as if they found settlement in Oakwell, and well, maybe even settlement in each other. A place to calm down and take a break from the madness of the world, and find someone who can who's experienced the darkness and knows where to seek the light. Do you just leave them be? Do you go crash their joint? What are you doing?
What level did Gregory view us at? What was his HP? Let me just quote unquote them.
Hey, Gregory, think fast.
Gregory, Marjorie, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. That whole thing, Samantha do that? What? That was craziness. You doing all right?
I mean, as well as we could be, but I mean, I'm more worried about you. The last time you were with us, you were pretty sullen. Are you doing all right?
uh, yeah. It's been good. As you can see, at the end times with Gregory, when you last saw him, you remember he was fucking a disheveled mess. He had fucking bags under his eyes because he was not sleeping well, and now he just looks like a big old happy bear. His face looks fresh. He just looks like he's just having a good time. Big old smile across his face. Although when you ask him about that, you do see him start to blush a little bit. It's the fallen horse has been doing great, and with what we earned, doing what we did, I really had to worry about money none. Kids are doing great too. It's been good. Y'all really fight all that stuff? You still going after dragons and things?
It was honestly, it was pretty fun. It was kind of scary in the arena fight, but we were fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I always had dreams of sort of doing them things. Fighting dragons and stuff. The stories, Wander and all that. But I'm thinking now, I don't think it was for me. I think this is really where I belong. Here with the kids, as I look down at Marjorie, I finally found something worth fighting for, but doesn't mean I have to fight. Not all the time. It's good. Look, I want to thank all y'all. All that was some nasty business we went through, but we made it through together, and certainly learned a lot because of it.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're doing better, and you'll always be a member of the Valiant Vanguard. So just pat her shoulder. If I look at Marjorie, pat her shoulder, and just be like, we're back and forth between them, and I'm like, I approve. You guys are fine. You gotta walk away.
What? What you? Well, bye, Luna.
Luna.
Did you? Never mind. And she just face is just blushed red to the point where you can't even see the markings on her. Where are the kids at? I gotta make sure they're staying out of trouble.
Hey, let's back to the horse.
All right, as Quildor taking a walk with Lady Blackbird in the far northern part of the city. Where you guys going? Where you showing her?
Just kind of walking around town, kind of seeing all the little shops. Just kind of talking to her about, the border, what she's noticing in Drakova with the change of the decade. Kind of share with her what the king said in Roka.
Certainly seems like that place is ready to freeze over. I don't see them doing far too much, at least on the surface. You know those dwarves, they love their little tunnels beneath the cold. How they do their trade. Certainly, I don't know what's going on up there, but if the Han District is to be believed, I assume that they're working on something big as always. They are quite inventive in the far north. Why, are you interested in going? It's not a place for a man clad in steel. He'd freeze to death. All of that muscle would go to waste.
I have my ways to keep myself warm and those around me warm as well.
Really?
Indeed.
So, tell me, you find yourself in this valiant vanguard. You don't look like you're from this town. Everyone in Rockwell has this quaint, cute little rustic look to them. Even when they're dolled up, there's still dirt on their hands and feet. I certainly love it. But you seem more prim and proper. You certainly are a knight of regard. Where exactly did you say you hailed from?
I hail from the city of Zamaria in the kingdom of Tyrion.
Ooh, that certainly explains your nature, hanging out with this quaint little vanguard. You're a mover and a shaker, just like the Tyrians.
I've made my way around this land. I have friends in many of the cities. As I'm sure you are well aware of, you seem to be a woman that knows things and has her own wide array of friends around this kingdom.
Friends. I certainly do have my connections. It's important to keep people close to you when you wish to keep your standing, especially in Broken Ridge. It's such a strange and dangerous cutthroat place. Honestly, without Swifthollow around, it gets so scary there. I don't have my elven blade at my side. It'd be nice to find a suitable replacement, someone to keep me protected.
You strike
she-
me as a woman that can take care of herself quite well. Also, just kind of, grab her arm. Is like, you are quite strong indeed.
Oh, such strength in your grasp. I cannot claim such. No, I am not built for fighting or conflict. I am merely a negotiator, a businesswoman.
One of the sharpest weapons anyone can have is their mind. You, Lady Blackburn, appear to have the sharpest weapon I've ever seen.
My word, your words do me kindness, Sir Knight. Hanging out with her, taking a walk around to and fro.
Yep.
And she seems to be very smitten by you. Almost obviously so. When you take her arm, she puts her arm back to loop around yours, and even at points where it almost seems like you guys are gonna break apart and go separate ways, she'll keep her hand on you. She seems very, very attached to you now, clearly.
Good.
As you guys are making your way across through the marketplace, Persephone and Swifthollow, you just showing up the garden.
Yeah, and how's it doing? I've huffed a lot of magic in here a year ago.
Oh yeah, it seems like after months and months have passed, although you'd expect it with the amount of power you put in to be well overgrown, it's actually been grown at a moderate rate. You know that the Liscus garden is a delicate garden that takes lots of prim and care to take care of. Fortunately, your magic has given enough life to where any mishandling wouldn't be the end of the plant. But you do see it growing in great fruition. Before, it seemed to be these sort of scattered bushes that lived out in these very secluded areas in the forest, but now it's this great expansive garden full of this soft, slightly effervescent, evergreen glow. It seems like the acolytes, the saplings of the Heartwood Sanctum, have been taking very delicate care of this garden since you've been gone.
Shortly before we went off to Stroma, my friend Lacasta told me about this plant that was keeping all of the undead at bay from our home village. So I brought some leaves here, what little we could find, and I started to grow it. And it looks like it's starting to grow back. It's a rare plant. Some say that it's been around almost as long as Green Life and Hearth itself. it's because of this we were able to keep off a lot of the undead. They couldn't really affect us as long as we had this with us.
Huh.
Purse is just gonna show Swift Hollow around the garden, just explain to her how she had spent a whole night putting her magic into the earth and how now it just looks wonderful. At this rate, I might be able to start regrowing Liscus in other parts of Hearth, maybe in the forest again that could use some repopulating if it's still recovering from the undead plague. Further out west, closer to the Heart Basin, there wasn't a lot of life. This could bring it back.
Switholo just like bends down and like rubs one of the leaves.
So tell us, like, so we're poisoning here or what?
So I can pick one, right? I can just like take it. Just take the.
Liscus is covered in a fine down, so the leaves are really soft to the touch.
Switholo wears gloves, so.
As you would still feel the sort of soft texture, but probably Persephone would tell you this thing also has a very delicate nature. It has to be, unless you're going to use it immediately, plucking it from its source, it only has so long before the plant loses sort of its vitality and use. As this thing is very delicate.
Yep. I have some growing in one of my dewdrop pots, just in case we need it. It's also got some healing properties to it. So, it's really good for crafting a lot of the concoctions that I've made in the past. And a good bandage.
Huh. Yeah.
Does Swiftolo seem interested at all, or is she just being like appeased? Like, yes.
Yep.
Yes, the healing plants. I can relate. I too do tons of healing plant. Yes. Me too. Yeah. Yeah, she's just there to entertain you. For the most part, she doesn't really seem that interested, but mostly because if it doesn't kill things, what's the point?
This weird blank stare at this plant that you've spent so much time cultivating, pouring your heart and soul into to cultivate life, not just here, but even over on the island of Stroma. You see your ally Swiftolo take a look at this plant. This is very blank stare with your incredibly high insight, just almost like this empty look.
We don't have to stick around. I just wanted to show you since you asked. And I thought it was just easier to bring you to the plant itself than to have to explain the really long-winded explanation on how it is that we acquired the Liscus and how I heard about it, and the lore behind it, and everything I know about it from Lucasta. And is there anything else you wanted to do before coronation?
How long do we have, approximately?
Maybe
Yeah, so
about like
probably
an
need to go
hour
make
or
a
so.
pocket watch. An
About
hour?
or so. Yep.
Man,
As
you guys
are
made it
going
sound
out-
like we had like 10 minutes or like 30 minutes.
Nope, you guys are going out and doing your own thing, catching a break. You guys put on your performance, and then sunset, you're going to get coronated. Is there anything else you want to do real quick? Go talk to someone, leave. Otherwise, you're just hanging out before it's time to become Dragon Slayers.
So, I don't want to get coronated.
Oh, you don't want to get coronated by your best buddies on a big pedestal in front of everybody? But yeah, there's nothing else you guys want to do. Going down to Samantha, you're heading down to the Fallen Horse just to relax. Just take a break from everything.
Actually, there is a slight change of plans with that. Mostly the same, but it is something that I guess will take some getting used to. I don't need to head to the Fallen Horse. I have a place that is my own, that is mine. And so, I take some time, make the rounds, talk to, the merchants and the people who, Samantha issues some respect to and answers their questions, etc., etc. And then when she feels like, she has run out of rope to burn on these people, she quickly just makes her way towards the guild hall and, has the guards let her in to her own domicile and just makes her way into the main hall and just walks down the length of that table, running her fingers along the cool obsidian all the way down to the head chair, and just pulls it out, collapses into it without any real fanfare, and pulls out her Rum Runner's Choice, sets it on the table next to her with a goblet, and just sort of takes in this, as she hasn't really had a moment to herself, whether it be the Vanguard or politicking or her weird kobold children. It's been a long time since she's just been alone with her thoughts, besides, you know, the traveling nights, but she spent the last 3 months or so just editing movies, so like she hasn't even really had time to just decompress, and so she's finally allowing herself that space to breathe, like she's been holding her breath since leaving Roka.
As you're relaxing in your chair, sipping from your drink and sort of decompressing finally, everything, a facade, mask after mask after mask, one might say, just keeping up appearances, keeping a strong face with your Vanguard, keeping up confidence, basically holding everything together for this very moment to finally relax. And you find peace until you do hear a thud in the far end of the guild hall. As you can hear the sort of scabbering and scattering of claws, as immediately, it seems like a minute or so after a presence has been made known in the guild hall, you do see a couple of the guest doors from the far western end open up as a number of kobolds come scrawling into the room with what looks to be spears from the armory just outside. Intruder! Intruder! Oh, intruder. Sorry, master. We thought you were an intruder. There's so many people around. Strangers in your lair. As you see Cecile coming around the corner. And one keeps appearing in the back. One keeps bringing supplies here. That green-skinned one. The woman who speaks quietly.
You should remember him. You've traveled with him for a bit.
No. A scary one. The one who stares. The one you serve as master.
Jody.
Is this her lair too? Does she belong in here? I have fire. We can keep her away. This belongs to the Valiant Vanguard.
Yeah, she belongs here, Zasir. Make sure you and all of your brothers, I suppose, know that. There are some guards of the town as well who are watching over the walls, and they are to watch over the outer perimeter, but you all are the trusted inner defenses.
Yes. Inner defense. The one true guard.
Exactly. Now, I will mention this, Zasir. Be sure not to burn anything in my lair.
As you see him like open up his hands, and just a glint of fire in his palms as he's holding his hands like this to you. As he turns away to show there's nothing, you do see a little bit of spark of fire as he was trying to hide them. Failing to do so, with your extra snakes watching. No fire. Cannot burn this place down.
Exactly. If you need to practice your fire, there's a little space in the courtyard to the eastern side that you can use. I think there's already some scorch marks over there. I'm sure you've probably already been doing things you weren't supposed to, but it is fine. It is fine. Just go and be quiet, will you? Your master needs time to think.
Okay. As you see him like peeking around to the kitchen, the green one keeps bringing boxes. We will let her bring them in. But we will be
You want
quiet.
to go help her?
Do you want me to go help her?
Yes, I do. Go help her. Go make yourself useful to her.
I will be useful! As he runs out the door screaming to the kitchen and then runs out the back way. As maybe just like glancing in the kitchen, you would see there are boxes of supplies that weren't there before. It looks like you guys have been getting furniture to stock this place to really bring it home, but now you can see a slowly building supply of what looks to be, from a glance, some swallowtail wine.
Just takes a moment to sort of recollect herself and try to find that quiet stillness again, and just sort of think about the things that she hasn't gotten answers to yet.
Good time to reflect on what you know and what you do not. As Temercon, I'm assuming you're just hanging out, bragging, having a good time with everyone.
Yeah, just leading some rambunctious, not super drunk, but some pre-gaming rounds of my little song, and trying to pull Ms. Revelry into the mix of all of this, as I'm sort of poking and prodding to I know she's one of these people up in Broken Ridge, and some rumors about a big thing I saw in the sky a little while ago when I was hunting down the Valiant Vanguard. As I'm trying to see if she's involved with it.
With the big old thing flying in the sky?
Mm-hmm.
From Broken Ridge to Crossway? Well, it seems like Revelry herself is actually from Skyreach, but she is one of the best sources to ask information. She always seems to find the scoops from all across Mobia and tell the stories, and she's happy to inform you about the Sapphire Dragon, this apparent creation from the Han district. Supposedly rumored that they had gotten some additional, I guess what I might call reagents from the far north of Dracova before the winter hit. That they've been using that to create these sort of half magic, half mechanical creations, a sort of new revolutionary technology, one might call it, that allows for a traveling flight. And she's heard that only the top of the top, those who can make it a place for themselves in the Crimson Wall, might actually have access to it. With your reputation of Dragon Slayers, and even having one of the, I guess, the presiding leader of Crossway somewhere in town, might be a great place to start if you're looking to catch a ride from the high side.
Does she have any thoughts on how it actually functions, how one would operate such a thing?
I mean, it clearly has to be functioned solely on magic. They say it's less magic than you'd expect, it's more machine, but I mean, how can something fly that heavy that's not a dragon if it's not magic? If you could give me information on that, wow, what a story that would be.
Something I am interested in myself. No inventions of the world are always intriguing. Do you know who exactly is behind such a thing? I thought, seeing your mechanical friend there, that you might have a hand in it yourself, but apparently not.
This is something quite different. Shield here is a construct given life by magic, but something that you'd find often in Skyreach, the breathing of magic into inanimate life. The Han district has been very keen on making use of, I guess, mechanical parts with or without the use of magic to function on their own. I would assume that their sapphire dragon, would function a lot like Shield, but they claim otherwise. I do not know myself. The inventor, well, I do not have a name for him. There's so many families that work in the Han district, so many who own power and property there, that their secrets are not often shared until, I suppose, a great reveal is made. Once the inventor has revealed himself, I'm certain you will know. But I'm certain I would know before you.
Of course. I'm just intrigued. Well, I think we're having this little ceremony here in a bit, but I would love to continue our party afterwards. If you still be around.
Oh, I will be around, darling. If you have stories to tell, I will be happy to hear them. And I will be at the front row watching.
So I'll drink a little bit, hang out a little bit with the crowd, as waiting for the event to be over with so I can get to real drinking.
Oh, yeah. As it seems like the night begins to get on, the sun sets, the sky is this bright red color. color of a dragon that has been slain, as the valiant vanguard finds themselves, along with a big and bustling crowd, in front of the mayor's estate, a place they have been once before after being named the Heroes of Oakwell. But now the crowd is filled with many other faces, individuals who find themselves comfortable seating in front of this great abode. And you guys find yourself standing on a now it almost feels smaller stage than you were before, beset behind you guys by a pair of familiar faces who lead you up upon its surface. You see the bright golden furred and well dressed individual, Lord Arthur von Nemean, leading each of you up hand by hand, excitedly to see you guys, as well as his knight Boulder standing adjacent to the opposite side, hand on the hilt of his sword, eyes mostly on his I guess his what you call his charge. That's it. As well as keeping his eyes on the crowd. He seems a bit uneasy, but you guys are ushered to what looks to be the stage of which you guys first found yourselves standing in the town of Oakwell. Now surrounded by peers and strangers, and seems to be some other familiar faces from across the face of Moby.
Everyone except Luna.
Everyone except Luna. What are you up to?
Luna, as soon as everyone else is brought up onto the stage, she's kind of tucked away, making sure that she can make an entrance. As people will notice that she's not there, as from the sky upon her carpet, she just starts to slowly drift down, wearing a very extravagant-looking dress that took Tim several days to finish, black in color with fur on the shoulders, see-through slightly, but modestly. Her hair done up in a way that has not been done before. Her makeup sharp that just accentuates her very pale skin. As I'm terrible at describing things, so if you want to know what it looks like, I did upload it onto my character sheet.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, scrolling. Oh, gorgeous. As you would find Luna Dieter von Edensberg sending down on her noble carpet with her form basically emblazoned with the physique of a noble. Long weeks of careful crafting by the small, timid, but very skilled hands of Tim Tam. As you see, not an adventurer descending down, but one might even say a goddess ascending the stage.
As she's just going to lightly step off of her carpet, just right next to Samantha.
Supposed to get dressed for this?
Persephone looks over to Marcon, dressed in her long, flowy, light blue gown.
Yeah, Swithal is wearing like a ball gown at this point.
Okay, Misty.
Sorry, Blackburn. But this is important. This is noble business now.
Samantha's still wearing her black sort of sundress with the purple flowers on it. So very beautiful.
I flick my hand across my shoulder as this large pauldron just appears out of magic on my right arm as the large belt around my waist seems to extend out in this animal fur as I cast my little armor on myself. That's the best I can do.
That works.
Do not at all regret putting you up to this, Luna. You look magnificent.
Kuldor's wearing his new armor, clad in his adamantine hand on his sword. Okay. As with all of you dressed for the occasion, the crowd now talking, I guess, making a big fuss as Luna comes very gently swimming down through the air on her carpet. You can see Lord Arthur applaud your performance, Luna. Well done, Miss Luna. Well done. Let me take your hand. There we are. Alas, we've finally been joined by the valiant vanguard. These many named and, well, now many talented individuals who have made this grand little town of Oakwell their home. Everyone, please give them a round of applause for all of their endeavors and all of their deeds. You must know, I have found this young group when they were but fledgling heroes of Oakwell, one of many throughout history, but within them I saw a spark, a hint of hope, a glimmer of glamour, something inside them that told me they would be great. And I, Lord Arthur III, am never wrong. So it seems. These individuals, I gave them a promise, a grand promise, that if they were to make names for themselves, they would find me in Skyreach, and I would reward them greatly for their deed. And found me in Skyreach they did. Unfortunately, they were not all hand in hand. It seems this valiant vanguard keeps themselves quite busy. Busy doing good in this world. So I returned them the favor. If they would not seek me in the highest point of Mobia, I would seek them from their humble beginnings. So that you all, the people of Oakwell who've come to know and love this quaint little adventuring group, would see them rise from mere adventurers of Oakwell and become something greater. But why, people of Oakwell, why is it a dragon slayer is considered so highly in the world of Hearth? It all begins with a story. A story long ago, before the age of your town, before the age of mankind, before even myself. Just kidding, you'll never see a silver hair on my head. No, it begins in the era of the ancients, when the world was populated by the oldest people of Hearth, with the dragons warring against the giants and the poor elves and dwarves in between, lost in the conflict. They warred with one another, they warred with themselves. The world was a big old cesspool of conflict, exciting to think about, but terrifying to live in. But there was one among the ranks, one particular individual who saw the conflict and believed it was time to bring it to an end, to cast aside bias, cast aside predispositions, and saw the betterment of the world. One might even call him the world's first adventurer. His name was Ronan. Ronan Songweaver. Some call him the savior of Illyria, but for good reason. He was the one elf who saw the dragons fighting against the giants, and an idea popped into his head. A single thought that seeded itself and bloomed into a glorious idea that brought forth the future we know today. Dragons stand before the giants for their envy of magic, and giants stand before the dragons for their natural craft and talent for warfare. If these great titans sought each other's gifts, it means they were lacking. They're only one half of a greater whole, as is in the name Titan-born, part of a greater whole. Ronin Stoneweaver saw an opportunity. The dwarves that they warred against, that they sided against, those both on their own and enslaved by the giants, held the key to their victory against both the giants and the dragons. Within their hands, they held the craft that these dragons and giants sought, the ability to marry what is natural and what is magical. And by putting aside their differences, by finding his wartime rival Grigor Drakozan, Ronin Songweaver wove together the first of its kind, one of the great swords of Hearth, the first dragon slayer. And together with this weapon in hand, this great elven warrior struck down the first dragon. But it would not be his first. Together, he inspired others to stand up against the great tyrants of this world and band together in great numbers. They found strength where there was once thought weakness, and together they brought down even the most infamous dragon in history, the Infernal Queen. The battle in such resulted with such carnage and destruction that the entire mountain of Coralon was destroyed in the process. But the Infernal Queen was brought to an end, and it brought about the new era that would follow. Ronin Songweaver perished in this battle, but he brought peace to both the nation of Illyria and the future of Hoth. And we, those who prosper from his adventure, from his great task, honor the title that he has named for himself, the title that he has earned and passed on through the ages. We honor Ronan Songweaver, the savior of Illyria, nay, the savior of Hoth, in this title of Dragon Slayer. And so those who bear this title, who've proven themselves to be champions against these titanic tyrants, will honor his legacy as well. And so now, today, the year 1260 in this small town of Oakwell, the first men we named heroes of Oakwell in this era, those who started their journey by fighting back this tyrannical Black Fury, fighting off some goblins, not for cash, not for gold or glory, but to simply see this lovely little festival continue, so that the children of this town may enjoy their Monarch Festival. They've become something greater, something that I see will reach the heavens with their might, with their glory, with their power, and become something greater the very next day, the very next year, with every passing step in their journey. As you can see, as he says this, Balder begins to, one by one, go to each one of you. Some of you a bit harder to do this, as you're not quite wearing clothes, but you are handed this small, round, golden signet with what looks to be a pair of, it looks like wings, but they're made of, it looks like plant life, almost like branches that hold onto these leaves, like feathering leaves. And at the center of it seems to be the crude head of what looks to be a dragon. It looks like it's like an old elven artifact, but it's been polished and cleaned and made present for each of you, as he hands to you a marker, a badge, a symbol of your draconic victory, as you're all presented, although given quite some time ago, but now held in true, your title as Dragon Slayer.
I cast Mage Hand to hold the medal because I don't know if I should touch it or not. I apologize quickly. I'm sorry. I might be allergic to metal. I'm sorry.
I assure you, you will be fine, as it is made of a glittering gold. Unfair.
Made of cold steel.
As
Bloody
you see,
forehead. Scary.
as Lord Arthur
Very nice.
steps aside. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in applauding this world's newest dragon slayers. May it be the first step towards their glory and greatness. May it not be the last of their ever-reaching height. May there be more dragons for them to slay, more tyrants for them to overthrow, more evils for them to cast away. As the crowd begins to cheer.
Yeah! Yeah!
Thanks,
The on the
Uncle.
roof is just Javen.
Yeah.
Yeah! Whoa! As he just has like a bill, like you can see, he finally got his barrel back. The bill. And he's just like jumping up and down. Yeah! With 2 bottles in his hand.
Even they made it. Oh, look at them.
1001.
As looking across the crowd, you do see sort of the slightly hunched figure of what looks to be an elf, pale of skin, long raven hair, sort of like holding himself up with a staff. He seems quite sickly, but standing by his side at perfect statuesque attendance is, for some of you, stopping your heart at this appearance. A long bird mask, long leather robes across his body, but you realize it is the Dr. Faust who you had joined on this journey before to go save a small town of Moston, as well as the western side of what looks to be Movia. As all across the crowd, you see familiar faces clapping and cheering and just excited. You can even see Dorman like wiping away his big tears as like Pip is just clapping excitedly, getting distracted by everything around him. Are there any words you wish to share with this crowd? Any one of you, Valiant Vanguard, as he motions toward the entirety of this line.
Samantha just sort of spread her hands at her side, indicating, by all means.
As one of the newest members of the Valiant Vanguard, a man who has come from very far away to meet you, wonderful people, I can only say that it has been an honor. I will wear this with pride, and you can always come to Tamarcon if you are in trouble. I will be most willing to help. And I very much expect to see every single one of you at the party after this. Don't go sneaking off now.
I came here a year ago looking for something new, and Oakwell's welcomed me with open arms. And as I've made friends here, I am a friend to all of you. So, as Tamarkhan said, if anyone needs my help, that is what I'm here for. But most of all, thank you to everyone in Oakwell for becoming my second home.
You know, for the longest time, I have loathed this country book in town. But I guess it has an air of comfort to know that I have somewhere that I can go when I left the place that I once called home. And I guess most of the people in this town are alright. That's it.
I think, as the second newest member of the Valiant Vanguard, I must say the pleasure is all mine. She just takes her graceful bow. As she says this, she can't help but feel a prickling at the back of her neck, remembering the words that she wrote, as all the eyes come upon the great hunter. Those eyes will pierce through her mask as long as she is the slayer of beasts. As she looks down at the metal, and then looks back up with a smiling face, waving to everyone.
It has been an absolute pleasure. And I could not be more proud both of what you all have done in Oakwell and in those I share a new home with in our guild hall. We are dragon slayers today, but I am sure there will be more to add to that, as we are not stopping. The Vanguard will continue forward. The Vanguard will be first, and the Vanguard will always be valiant.
Well spoken, Valiant Vanguard, well spoken. There you have it, Oakwell. Your bona fide heroes made heroes once more. Slayers of dragon and slayers of our hearts, as he wipes what appears to be a fake tear away from his eye. I would tell you now to go enjoy the remainder of your festivities, as the Valiant Vanguard have themselves a date with nobility tonight in the mayor's estate. I hear there's quite a feast to be had. As, with that, the crowd will still linger around for a while for communing. If you guys want to go talk to some people, catch up with some others, some time will pass. Is there anyone you have to talk to? Or otherwise, just sort of mingling?
Where's the big old
Kevin,
UPS
geeks all
truck?
over
Is
to
that
you guys.
Is it at the mayor's estate, or is it here?
You don't know, actually. Strangely, it was in town, but
We'll go around advertising, telling people who made her dress.
I guess you mostly talked to Persephone. Hey! Look at you! Now you're a real bona fide dragon slayer.
I know, it's official now.
Don't get too close to me. Oh, I'm great when I'm drunk.
Oh, God.
Oh. So you got a noble dinner.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I knew it. I was right to
customary.
tap out when I did.
And
No.
it looks like, as Persephone looks back at the long row of nobility, there's a way more here this year than there was last year.
Whoa, good luck. And she just pats you on the back. You know where I'll always be. Yeah. See, I told you guys I was getting too old for this. Oh, when I quit, y'all are dragon slayers. Called it. Knew it was dragging you guys down.
Glad you're doing well for yourself regardless.
Ugh, you have no idea. Crossway. Whoo! But, let's have alcohol. Oh, you should come by the. Oh wait, you don't drink. No, you should come
Guys,
by anyways.
yeah, where?
What? Broken horse. Duh. As he like points to a barrel and he just like shakes it back and forth as it sloshes heavily.
Okay.
Uncle's drunk again.
Get drunk. Get drunk. Yeah, like those Hell's Hydras guys. Yeah, they kind of just took over the skink. I like causing hijinks, but oh no, something about those guys. I could mess with drunks. No, not those guys. They give me a bad feeling. Like the golden, ooh ha.
Right.
All
The
right,
other ones.
follow the horse.
We do
Have fun
have
at the
more
local dinner. You don't get too crazy.
to get involved in, Javen. Thank you.
Steven just points two finger guns. Oh yeah, and good on you on taking up the whole mask thing. So I didn't when you were going to do that.
And I'm going to appear in front of Lacasta to give her a hug.
She catches. She. I think at this point she's gotten a little used to your sudden appearance hugs as she sort of sees you appear in this sort of burst of silvery mist. That she reaches out and just catches you in a big hug. You did so wonderful up there, Persephone. I remember. It was a year ago we had to make a speech to the whole town about the Stroma incident. I think both you and I were quite nervous, but look at you now, you're shining like the sun. I do wish Peleus was here to have seen this, though. I'm sure he's enjoying himself out in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some people I wish could have seen this too, but when he returns, it will be a great story to tell.
It certainly will be. I hope you'll be around to tell him that, though.
Oh, I don't know. You know how it is. Adventuring takes you everywhere. Especially now that we're officially Dragon Slayers. I'm probably going to be off more often.
I see. That is understandable. You are going to be moving so fast and so far across this land. It's going to be hard to talk and see you at times, I'm sure.
But I'm going to grab Lucas's hand, but I never forget my friends. And anytime I have a moment, I know where I can go to enjoy a cup of wonderful tea.
That is true.
To talk among the plants with my closest friend, Lacasta.
I can always believe you, Persephone. As she just gives you another big hug. All right, unless there's anything else you have to do. Samantha slinking your way down south.
Timberson.
Well, the Dragon Slayer, I suppose.
Sort of like looking at him with kind of sort of a, oddly enough, a sort of defensive posture as he sort of looks at Gregory and then Marjorie and the children.
This tiny little hand reaching up. Can I?
Hello there, Nina. Long time no see. She just flashes a smile at her.
You've got snakes on your head.
Do I have quite a number of them? Sort of making sure to keep her distance, sort of flashing a glance over at Gregory.
Can I touch one?
Sure, they will never ever bite you. And she just sort of stoops down a little bit lower, squatting in front of her, letting all of her snakes just sort of calmly come to a rest at her shoulders.
You can immediately see Joey just kind of like reel back a little. It's like, oh. But Sam sort of the other end, just like trying to get a better look over Nina's head, and Nina just this tiny little hand reaches up and just touches one like a little poke, a little tap with her hand, and then eventually starts like to rub a finger along it. Whoa. You're not slimy at all.
Oh, no, they certainly are not. As a few of them sort of just like wrap a little bit around a finger and poke at her at the side of her wrist. Here, I have something for you.
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, you ain't
As she just kind of reaches down. Something to always remember. Me and the wonderful adventures your big brother went on. As she just hands her the badge.
but you can't just be giving that. Come on now.
She just looks up at you and puts a finger over her mouth.
Whoa. What? But this is yours. You did it because you beat up a dragon. I can't. This isn't mine.
I know it isn't. It is mine, and I am choosing to give it to you. Promise me you'll take good care of it. You won't lose it.
Yeah. I'll take care of it.
Good. I will
Baby,
never.
put it on me.
Yeah, hold still now. We're just holding on to it though, right, Nina? Till Samantha needs it again.
Yeah.
Understand
Well,
that.
I'll take good care of it. I'll be a dragon slayer.
Oh.
I'm sure you will.
Pin it on her cloak.
Some of my rear snakes sort of look down underneath my my right hand arm and sort of look up over at Marjorie. What's her overall demeanor sort of look like?
She seems like she's. It's weird when you see her expression. She seems like she's not particularly surprised, or maybe she's just used to such things, used to such expressions and sudden appearances of things, or maybe there's like maybe a knowingness to her. But the way she sees you interacting with Nina, she just smiles. Her eyes immediately flash up to Greg whenever he starts talking, and she just seems to be like watching on. She seems like at first she was looking at you. With the moment that Nina starts talking, Gregory starts interacting, her entire disposition just shifts down towards the kids and Gregory. And it seems like for a moment you're almost lost before her. Before you start looking up at her and she turns you to a smile and she just gives you like a little thumbs up. That was a lot bigger than a witch, huh?
But just as important, Marjorie. Thank you again for everything. And, of course, Timberson, you as well, and little Nina, and Sam and Joey. You all mean a lot to me.
Appreciate it, Samantha. I know this ain't time or place or nothing, but if it really comes down to it, all that me to talk, I don't know if I'm much worth much more than that nowadays, but yeah, hell.
Seems like you have more than enough on your plate, Timberson. Don't let your eyes end up giving you more than your stomach can handle.
Appreciate that.
She just looks at the children and Marjorie intently. You have a family to take care of. As do I. Farewell, Timberson.
Have a good night.
Gives a soft wave to Nina once more before slipping back between the common folk and patting Dorman on his head and moving up and through past people. wonderful ex-wife that she is. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that's not the feeling.
Yes, so tell them, what are you up to?
Hello, Gizmo. How are you enjoying the festival?
There are so many people around. This one keeps breathing down my neck, and I think he's dying of dysentery or something. His smell is awful.
It's a half elf.
It seems to warn the others away.
The survivalist you always are.
So
You've been
now you
selling
have...
your clockwork wonders.
The children of this town have no such wonders of their own. Everything is made of soft material or wood. It's quite sad. So yes, I'm doing quite well. It seems as if the Pip has offered me much material to use to create most of the simplest toys. I am selling them at exorbitant prices. This town is full of fools.
God damn, I had to suppress that. I'm assuming you don't need me to pay for your life. Time expenses, do I?
Understandably so. If you are not offering protection in this town yourself, which was promised when you first moved me from my domicile up north in Brokenridge, I would appreciate a lump sum of perhaps some more gold to assure that I can hire, I suppose, more protection in your stead.
I do not know how long I will be in this town. But
I
I'll
would
try to,
expect
for as long as I'm
an infinite
here.
amount of money. Or perhaps as much as you can offer. This town is full of adventurers, yes. They have people who can guard, people you can trust. I had the untrustworthy folk in this town, but I believe the Valiant Vanguard might have considerable judgment in such matters.
The Swithala just puts her hand, just like on Gizmo's shoulder with her palm facing towards her neck as, with a bonus action, a blade just slides out and rests against his throat. Please remember who you're messing with. Asking you as Swift Hollow. I'm asking you as an agent of... She looks up to Thaw. You know.
I am
Ready to kill him or what?
reminded.
So, I am compensating you. Our research has been fruitful.
Certainly.
Oh. She she lets go, and then with a simple slide of the hand, a tap of the wrist, the blade wasn't even there. Not even to outside onlookers. I do have this noble dinner, but rest assured, by the time this festival is over, we'll be back in business. I hope you did enjoy your vacation.
Certainly profitable and unsanitary. That room is quite too small for my liking, but I suppose I have
It's
no
in the
room to
guild hall.
complain. Certainly is a guild hall now. There's a larger building, but there's more people. There's going to be lots of people going in there, isn't there? Is it people going to mess with my things?
I suppose I could try to talk to Samantha about something like that, but that would probably require a deal on her end, and I'm not too keen of sharing you.
Are you afraid of this Samantha? If you are, I would not mess with her. You're terrifying enough.
No, not afraid. Just scared of what you might say.
Very well.
You
I
know,
will keep my
within my
words at
eye
a
reach.
minimum. Now, please
My
let me go.
experience doesn't work against her. Just stay in the house. It's cramped, but it's safe. No one knows who you are, and no one knows where we live.
I certainly hope not. May I go now? This crowd is making me uncomfortable.
Yes. I'll see you back at the house. And he just turns on her heel and starts walking to the noble place.
Very well. As he just turns and starts walking up in the direction, you can hear Thaw cut. That was the ugliest looking child I have ever seen. This town is full of terrible things.
Oh, Thaw.
As Persephone, seems like you're greeting some people. You're just interacting.
Yes,
You see,
I wanted to say hi to Elmon and Dr. Faust.
sure. As you would find, the doctor greeting you dutifully, hand folded behind his back to the one giving you a gentle wave. Elmon resting up against his staff, sort of levels himself and gives you a gentle wave as well. There you are. have not seen you in person for quite some time, though your letters dutifully reach our little village. And now I find yourself a dragon slayer. You have moved quite quickly, little elf.
It's in part thanks to both of you. The books that you sent back, they were extremely helpful and even pivotal in us being able to traverse down a volcano and survive.
I'm glad our research has had some yield of success for you. Seems to do better in your well-traveled hands than it has in our library. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Faust?
Experience is a great teacher, but you must always rely on literature when there is nothing left behind. Although,
And you see him sort of turn his head towards you, Persephone.
I do believe there are some places that even the most adventurous minds should not wander.
As I look back to Elmon, you're still ill. The drought that I gave you, did it do nothing?
I have done little more than rise and his seat. Suppose decades now, almost. Time is passing so swift. But I have taken your tonic along with the aid of the doctor. If it weren't for such a combination of concoction, I would not be here within the walls of this town. The journey was taxing, but manageable thanks to you.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Maybe I should start sending some back for you. Or maybe. Well, I made it with Liscus, and moly is very similar to Liscus. So maybe, Dr. Faust, you could probably start concocting something similar with the moly around Mosten.
It has certainly been a challenge to cultivate it, but I could give it a shot. Send more of that precious material, hopefully in a timely manner, and I could see what I can do with it personally.
Yeah, I'll be sure to get you some before the end of the festival.
Wonderful.
Amon just sort of gives you a smile. Saving villages, stopping plagues, and now slaying dragons. Where else are you going to go in this world, and what else shall you change?
Persephone just smiles, thinking in the back of her mind all of the things that are to come in the next 2 months. Who knows?
I'm certain it will. Very well. I must find myself a place to rest. I would enjoy wandering this town once more. If you would join me, Persephone, the company would be appreciated.
Yeah, I'd love to.
As after some time, maybe about 30 minutes or so of just carousing and enjoying yourselves in the crowd. Others just sort of taking a break, Quildar taking a stand, just watching over the entirety of the crowd. It begins to disperse, and you guys find yourselves almost alone with the nobles. Most of the crowd has gone off to go enjoy the festivities. You can see Lord Arthur has taken some time to go back with the other nobles and start gathering them inside of the actual estate of the Autumnwoods. And the crowd has begun to. Oh, is there anything else you want to do, Luna? I didn't see you move.
Oh, not really. I'm just talking with Brad and Robin.
Oh yeah, they.
That's it. Not much.
Brand just kind of feels weird. Just like I feel like I'm not supposed to be up there. I shouldn't have been up there, right? I didn't do that. I was just kind of on the sidelines. You brought me to the whole festival thing, and then went with the whole Roka, and I don't know if you want me to be up there or not. Did I do the wrong thing?
It's okay, but you'll probably be up there next time. Since you are to be my knight. It's going to be expected of you to stand out by my side in crowds like this.
I guess it's true. I guess I didn't really feel like an at the time when all this happened. So, yeah, I might have to work on that. Next time, stand up there in the crowd with all of the nobles.
Don't worry, we'll get you used to it. Speaking of which, you're coming to the dinner tonight. I assume. What is Balder? Is Balder like Arthur's retainer, or is he also like a noble?
He seems like he is Arthur's protector. He is his knight. You met him way back in the day during the first dinner you had with the nobility after the festival. He is almost always by Lord Arthur's side. Very quiet, very serious. Probably one of the few people in this whole town or cacophony of weird nobles who doesn't have some sort of fixation or god awful personality trait that's just unstandable. No, he seems like probably the most level headed of the lot up here.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell Brad that he is coming to the dinner.
But he looks back at his mom, and you see his mom just like nod her head very harshly.
Don't worry, you don't have to do much, but just to get you acquainted with this situation.
Does he have formal wear?
I mean, I bought some jewelry in Roka. That's about all I got. Do I need to go Tim Tom? What was his name?
I mean, you have that outfit that you were wearing in Roka. I don't really know if that's like appropriate. It's kind of.
You guys were saying it showed off a lot of chest, and I didn't feel like you guys really approved of that.
My mom got mad about it too. You certainly looked quite dashing. Perhaps you need to just get a simple black and white suit from Tim Tam.
Yeah, I can do that.
Go rent a prom tux. Go.
I don't know what that is, but I'll go certainly try to find something like it. As he gets up and scurries away in the crowd. As time passes, again, about 30 minutes or so before things scatter, finding your rest from this ordeal. As, Logan Autumnwood and Lord Arthur start to usher you into the building of the mayor's estate. When Bea just sort of calls out from beyond the stand, what's this one doing? What's he doing? As you guys find yourselves now, sun having set, darkness taking over the town, outside the mayor's estate, as Bea is reaching down and holding something that seems to be writhing and screeching. Hey, Samantha? I think one of your things is broken.
What? She sort of turns her attention towards it after apologizing to Luna. What is it?
As she picks up this now apparent to be kobold whose arms are just sort of writhing in the air, kicking around, flailing, and now as you realize it, he's got a gash right above his eye, and held in one of his claws is this crumpled up note. Yeah! 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 Is this thing talk? Is he trying to attack?
Which one is it?
I think it would be Thrinibal. One who doesn't seem to talk much. Yeah!
Put him down, Bea. She just seems to sort of step over, and then noticing the gash underneath her over his eye, step quite quickly.
Yeah. As he runs up to you, Samantha.
Samantha switches to Draconic. Calm down. What seems to be the problem?
Yeah. As he starts to cough out his own sort of weird Draconic. Common doesn't seem to be his strong suit, but he does sort of manage Draconic. Good thinking. As he sort of coughs out in his monotone. Leia! Taken! Leia! Taken!
Samantha quickly looking around the, because everyone's still in the courtyard, right?
Most of the crowd has scattered. It's mostly the nobility being ushered in. It seems like it's only like Lord Arthur, Lord Autumnwood, who's now trying to get you guys to come, and Bea now just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, as well as this tiny little kobold. The rest of you would be definitely aware of what's going on with this screeching. As he pulls out this tiny crumpled, looks like a parchment of sorts.
Take it.
Yeah. Elmon, this person's gonna hurry on over.
As you pull out this note that looks like it's been somewhat marred and not bloodied, but dirtied. As you're now looking at, it looks like what's his name? Thornabal's hands are now covered in dirt, as if he'd just been digging in the ground, as you find yourselves partially written note aimed for you all. Valiant Vanguard, you sully the future of a righteous profession and must pay the price. As such, your eyesore to this town has been taken by the truly worthy. The wards within draw breath, including myself. We shall draw our last come midnight, lest you submit yourselves before the hall's gates, disarmed and empty-handed. Anyone seen accompanying you will be another life lost. On top of those, you will be damning. Neither of your squires will be spared from our steel. There is no hope of winning against them, Vanguard. You are outnumbered and outmatched. You once claimed to be the heroes of Oakwell. Prove yourself heroic and submit for the sake of the people, the five of you, and the future of Hearth. Or show your true colors and let unnecessary bloodshed for the sake of your legacy. Let the town and gathered nobility see who the heroes of Oakwell really are. Mordred Kane is waiting, Dragon Slayers. And it's signed, far bottom right, Jody.
What's going on? Are we getting some excitement tonight?
Purse is gonna snatch the letter. No, this isn't right. Cody's her friend.
Othello immediately just like looks around.
She was most likely forced to write the note.
Yeah.
Miriam, they fight, they hurt. Everyone there hurt. Lots of men.
Common?
All in Draconic. This thing just going like, yeah.
One by one, you can see just the gathered snakes on Samantha's head, each one going from this sort of calm, cute, docile state, trying to not frighten anyone that would be looking at her, and each of them growing more and more active and agitated, hissing at it seems like nothing, as just this immense rage begins bubbling within Samantha.
I'm gonna put a hand on her arm.
What is
But
going
Hollow
on?
knows what she's looking for because she's one and the same. So Hollow immediately just looks around for any hidden eyes.
Give me a perception check.
I'm good at those.
Hey, ooh.
25.
Wow.
Takes one to know one.
As looking around the now again dispersing crowd, you do see a number of armed individuals making their way down the thoroughfares. It looks like more of the guards as usual, but some of them do sort of catch your eye and then sort of walk around on the corners. They look like guards, sort of held tightly and looks like to be somewhat deemable armor, but they don't quite. Normally they carry their spears and their shields. This one seems to carry a cloak and a pair of looks to be some weapons hilted at his side. But they're also now dispersing with the rest of the crowd as if they were part of the audience.
What's going on?
Hell's Hydras have taken my guild hall. They have taken my wards. They have taken Jody. It is still there, Tamar.
Oh, okay.
But they
So a good
occupy
old-fashioned
its
kidnapping, yeah?
halls.
It's exciting.
They
Where are we going?
demand our surrender.
Yes, Swift Hollow sort of starts laughing. Oh, it's been a while. So long.
Kidnapping. As you can now see Logan Autumnwood stepping forward.
Yeah, sort of gathering herself just enough, just maintaining a thread of control. Samantha looks over towards like the nobles and calls Mayor Autumnwood and Lord Arthur Thimble and
Not quite.
is it? Oh God, damn it! You know,
Wrong one. wrong tabaxi, my friend.
hold on.
He's a lord now.
I tried to memorize the thing you gave me.
Clyde's middle name is Arthur, though.
Nemian, that's right, Nemian.
That someone's looking for Lord Arthur von Nemian III. Is someone looking for Lord Arthur von Nemian III?
Arthur Nemian, yes. And I think those are the only two I really need. I guess Sir Balder will come with him because it's the two of them.
Mhm.
And show them the note along with Bea. That's who that was there.
Bea is now definitely the first one to see the note as he's trying to just figure out what's going on. Oh, fucking hell. As he shows it over to the Lord. Look what's happened. These fucking ruffian adventurers finally got a little too rough. Didn't you send guards in there? Didn't you ward them away, Logan? I did. We sent in a dozen. They were guarding the walls.
Dozen?
A dozen men, yes.
How many men does the Hell's Hydras have?
They do have a considerable number, several dozen, but this is foolish. Why would they stand against the town? This is a crime. They're not going to get away with this. As you can see, like
Only one can stand that they talk.
you see Thunderball just sort of reaching as he just tried to sound out words interconnected to the best of the ability.
What?
Appear out of nowhere! Man with no eye! Man with mask! Come out of nothing! Strike down guards! Let more men in! No one stand a chance! Over a dozen! Fight! All of them go down! All of them go down so fast! Go! Go and Miriam! Struck fast! Cannot even harm him! Scary! Triple! Dig! Dig as fast as he can!
Even though I'm smiling, Samantha is not because he's adorable, but
Yeah.
Mordred and some masked man appeared out of nowhere in the guild hall and cut down the guards. He killed them and let in more of their Hell's Hydra. They are demanding our
That's what follows.
surrender.
Mercenaries
So
and
Hollow-
magic users.
Pulls out a book, and then, taking a feather pen, pricks it into her finger and writes Mordred Kane. Alright. Are we ready?
So we
Yeah,
go
awesome
unarmed,
wood.
and they have the hostages. We have to free them somehow, yes?
We have to free them. If they see us coming,
What?
they will kill them.
Oh, let me at them.
Then what are we
Good
supposed to do?
people inside of this guild hall, if they see you with weapons in your hand, the hostages are dead. Please, this is the good day. This is the one Monarch Festival that's supposed to go right. Please. Cannot have bloodshed here. Not in this town, not today. Please, this may be too much to ask of you, thank God. See these men brought in chain. See them brought to trial. If you have to defend yourself, please do so, but there are nobles here. There are people watching. You are now the dragon slayers. I don't want your first day of being heroes, true heroes, to be marred in blood. And you can see Bea to step up. Fucking kill them! They have magic! They're gonna get away!
The hostages
like
should be
a-
our priority.
I like her.
We need to make sure they at least get out safely.
And they have
However
already
we handle-
killed guards.
So if they see us coming with weapons, they kill them. How about we just don't be seen? Easy enough, yes?
Oh. Yes,
Filter's
Chris,
already dressed all in black over there.
Swift Hollow and I can get around unseen. She did really well with going around the tavern when we first met Tamar Khan. And I have spirit.
true. Well, maybe we should spare those details from the noble presence. But yes,
I will do what
let me
I
add it
can.
first. Let me do what I can and see to that the hostages at least get out.
Can certainly help to cover your escape. Like a little time
As
in editing.
Zavala did smirk, I did scout ahead in the Dragon's Lair. Is this any different?
Where are we going?
Is only a little different. I don't know how we will get
Only slightly.
all of our friends and vassals out of that place, but I do know of ways for us to get in.
And where?
To the guild hall.
Oh,
Without them noticing us?
There are ways, whether it be through magic or extraordinary talent, as she sort of looks at you, Persephone, can get eyes on them, figure out where they are. In terms of bringing them alive, you can see this sort of grimace go across Samantha's face. Do not take kindly to those who would take from me, you know this. However, you can see if an exception can be made for Mordred and his second in command, this masked man, Mayor Autumnwood. The Vanguard is valiant, but it must be known. You fuck with us, you will not go unpunished.
I see. Bea, get 36 men a safe distance away from the guild hall. If that place has eyes, watch for any additional numbers. I need to be a safe distance away, but once it is clear, once you've assured us that the hostages are in a safe position, we will send reinforcements. And you see like Boulder standing at the side watching you guys. I can offer my, but only for a short time. If your town is prone to having wired adventure, taking hostages at a moment's notice, I feel unsafe keeping the Lord away from my God. I have sworn an oath to give him my life.
Keep him safe indeed. I would not want this to spread beyond one idiot's stupid little grudge. Offered an olive branch, and I offered a position of neutrality, and he spit at them both. My fury.
As the night reaches a somber point, as you'll find yourselves in the later evening, about 8 o'clock at night, a few hours before the stroke of midnight will come, when the deciding moment will bring about whether these hostages, the kobolds, even seemingly your patron Jody, will make it through this decisive day. As that is where we will end tonight's session with the Valiant Vanguard planning to save the beloved members of not only the Fallen Horse, members of their extended Vanguard family, but the defenders of this town that they have now come to claim home as Dragon Slayers. You'll have to join us, not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, as Omen got thing to do.
Omen has things to do, but you gave such an
got things to
excellent
do.
cliffhanger, though, so I'm sorry. Your thing has been rescheduled to never, and now you'll be here next Thursday. Got it. Cool. Got it. Cool. Yeah. No, enjoy yourself. Do what you need to do. Oh, fucking Mordred. Fucking Mordred. Stupid fucking Mordred. I mean, you know, it's technically justice if he's just a big garden ornament, right? That's legally justice.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. He's legally not dead. You're gonna make me go full Daenerys on this motherfucker. Alright. My forehead hurts. Why? Why, you stupid, dumb idiot.
Stupid, dumb, fucking.
stupid, dumb, idiot, moron couldn't even accept an olive branch. What's wrong with you? Now I gotta kill you.
Yeah, now I gotta eat your face. Like that's the way this goes. I don't.
Uh-huh.
When will they learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
Let me at him. It'll be so easy. Cast invisibility, fly me in, airdrop me in. It'll be so easy. It'll be so easy.
I would love to just send you on an Assassin's Creed solo dolo mission, but I doubt it will be that easy. It'll be pretty lit.
Give me like the detect magic.
As for the first time in Song of Rapture history, for the first time in Valiant Vanguard history, they will find themselves not facing off against monsters, not facing off against bandits. They'll be facing off against other renowned adventurers of Oakwell, who have made a pristine name for themselves, if not on the same level of dragon slayers. The challenge will be considerable.
Loss of life. Who cares about loss of life? I'm gonna make them lose all of their lives.
This is the first time we're fighting like non-monstrous humanoids.
Yeah, finally.
Finally, I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
God damn it! You have no idea.
So long ago. Oh God.
I'm glad that we haven't actually put like a whole bunch of our stuff in this place yet, because like there's a lot of boom boom magic that we have, and I'm worried.
You certainly do.
I cast Earthquake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry, Samantha. We're gonna have to rebuild the place.
It's okay. We'll switch to another map, so that way
a few minutes to meditate and resort.
That way Owen has to do a bunch of Photoshop to make climactic battle maps. Oh, goodness gracious. I just want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight for Song of Rapture. A big shout out to How I Nerd for the big raid earlier in the session. Thank you all so much for that. Along with Wafflecracker23, thank you for following. Dicey Amazon, so wonderful to see you. Be sure to check out their content. Dicey Amazons is amazing. Jadles89, thank you also so much for following, and everyone for the bits and support as well. You all are awesome. We have a wonderful official Discord if you feel inclined to join, where you can discuss the events of this session or our other games, or talk about your own games or your own other TTRPGs that you like to play. We talk about memes, video games, all that kind of standard Discord fare, along with discussing rules and UA and all that fun stuff as well. Though there hasn't been an important D&D question in a while. You guys keep finagling with nonsense about what art is and all that gibberish. Give me fun stuff.
I don't see that.
Leg nipples. That's what art is.
Leg nipples.
Yes, leg nipples indeed. But again, thank you all so much for watching. We're gonna go ahead and share love with someone else playing some of the world's greatest role-playing game, allegedly. And let's see. I want to give a big shout out as well, and thanks to Roll20 for sponsoring Song of Rapture and providing all the wonderful support that they do through their Roll20 Spotlight program.
Look at that.
As their wonderful motto says. Oh my god. Oh geez. All this acid going everywhere. Those are the fireworks. Yeah, every time Samantha kills somebody, a firework goes up in the sky.
Warpstone fireworks going off.
My goodness. Fuck. But yeah, this is how we roll. A wonderful service thanks to Roll20. And I think that's just about everything I've got for you, besides that there is always more D&D on Lionhead Gaming. Oh my god, that is absurd. With this Sunday, the return of Heroes of Thylea, as the Oracle's Chosen have descended down to the lowest levels of the Mithril Mines, and now face off against this upstart young Cerberus, a dark servant of the goddess of death, Lutheria. Will they be able to put an end to its reign of, well, dominion over this mithril mine? Will they be able to relight the forges, allowing the god of the forge, Vulcan, to make the tools they'll need to confront the Titans? Or will their odyssey come to an unfortunate and premature end in the molten depths of a god-powered forge. Be sure to tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern to find out what happens. And watch me play a big old scary doggo. It's gonna be great. So you don't want to miss it. And then we'll be coming on back, I believe, this upcoming Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. for some more Kingdoms of the South, as the Apex Alliance are on the verge of entering into the Doom portal. The Feywild 2, Feywild numero dos, which seems to be featuring some scary doggos of its own, though a different kind of doggo, not a big old Cerberus, but big old angry hyena men. So you don't want to miss the Apex Alliance facing off against maybe some regular gnolls and also some special gnolls. So be sure to tune in for that. With unfortunately no Song of Rapture though, the upcoming Sunday, because Omen wants to drop this very frustrating, anger-inducing. Okay, I gotta finish the wrap up.
Suffer.
So with that, I want to leave you with our final words. As always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all. Toodles.
Bye.
Wash your hands, it's not over.
Don't touch your face.
Take a page from Grandpa.